it's hard to start and it's hard to put yourself out there, especially if it's your full person. You know, it's a lot easier when you're a VTuber because yes, you're putting your full person out there, but it's your personality, or hopefully that's what it should be, your personality, who you are as a person and not what makes you look like physically as a person.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Sweet Talking Podcast with your host, Nepherti. It's great to see you all again for our, I believe this is episode 29. So thank you so much for being here tonight. I really do appreciate you guys supporting the podcast. This has been a long journey. It's gonna be even longer. Hopefully things continue to go well. And I really do appreciate all of your support here on YouTube. So thank you so much. You may notice that the atmosphere has changed from the previous episodes. And the reason for that is because, basically, we were in our mother's basement before. We were in my mother's basement before, and now this is what it looks like upstairs. We're now upstairs. So we live in a very nice place, and we're kind of continuing the theme of just kind of being the kind of homey style podcast that we do here. So. I hope you guys kind of enjoy the new space, enjoy the new background, enjoy the new vibe, and thank you all so much for being here. And to everyone else who has been a patron at any point, at any level, thank you so much for supporting what I do. If you're interested in learning more about that, you can check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/Nepherti. So, with that out of the way, it's time to get into the actual podcast. So, I am joined tonight for this episode with MissRogue. I'm sure that we'll find out more about why the Miss in the name, but we'll be calling. I think Rogue doesn't mind if I call you. You don't mind if I call you just Rogue, right?
No, I don't mind at all.
Okay, cool. So yes, we are joined with Twitch streamer and content creator, Rogue this evening, and I'm looking forward to talking with her tonight. It's going to be a really great time. I'm looking forward to digging into things and just learning more about her. Rogue and I have actually known each other. We've known. I guess we've known each other for a couple of months now. I would say something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and not only that, but we actually friended each other in VRC. I think it was on Teehee. We were both on Teehee stream. It was streaming at one point months and months ago. We're like at the beginning of this year or something like that. And you were there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think you and I did have a few words, which is why you friended me, you hit me with the friend request first, because I didn't know who you were. And the funny thing is, we've never hung out in VRC after that. We literally never have. Which is wild. It's so wild to think about that. We friended each other at one time, but this is our first time kind of face to face in VRC as far as I can recall. So very interesting. Very much looking forward to having a conversation with you and getting to know you, just as a streamer, as a person, and I think that's gonna make this a really fantastic episode. I hope you're looking forward to it as much as I am.
I am, yeah.
Cool. So I guess without further ado, let's kind of start things off like we usually do on the Sweet Talking Podcast. So I usually ask my guest to kind of give a very brief introduction. It doesn't have to be brief; it can be as detailed as you'd like. But I generally like to know. Exactly who you are, not what, but who you are exactly, and actually what makes you you, what are your likes and dislikes, just little basic introductions so people who don't know who you are can get a sense of who you are.
Right. So I'm MissRogue, also known as mostly just Rogue on all of these different platforms. Before I started streaming, I actually went to school for engineering. So that's what I do as a profession outside of streaming and stuff. I really enjoy being able to solve difficult problems with little to no help, or if I am working with the team, with as much different brains as possible. But outside of that, I've always been a nerd. Always will be.
Same
I
here.
love reading
Same here.
books. I love playing video games, obviously. I watch anime, as most people do these days, which is fun. And I have like a lot of little tiny like little niches that I do as well that not a lot of other people do, such as like aerial acrobatics, which I'm not so much active in that as of right now since I've moved from Florida. But it's something that I still yearn to do, and I really do miss because it was really fun, and it's a different spin, literally, on dancing that I quite so much enjoy. But yeah, got a lot of little different hobbies. I'm just annoyed on the internet.
Nice. Yeah, we're definitely going to talk a little bit about. I think we'll get into those little aspects of the things that make you later on in the episode. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to kind of learning more about like the aerial acrobatics stuff. I'll ask you more about that at the latter portion of the podcast. That will be in the post content. So yeah.
Sure.
Awesome. So you said you're an engineer. So you went to school for that. Like we're both pretty nerdy. We're both pretty nerdy people. Pretty geeky, being the embodiment of greed and all that. I like to know things, but engineering is definitely outside of my wheelhouse. I definitely don't know. I don't know anything about engineering. So I guess just kind of briefly, what got you into engineering, and I guess why do you still do it?
So it's not something that I grew up like, oh yeah, I want to be an engineer. Like most kids are like, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a, yeah, no, it's not something that I was like, I know what my destiny is going to be. Actually I kind of fell into it coincidentally. So I've technically been doing engineering projects since middle school. I'm really grateful that I was put into like one of those, like future foundation programs where they try to teach younger generations like really important tools to potentially like guide them towards engineering as a profession when they get older.
Yeah.
So I've been doing like little projects here and there, learning how to be like more self-sufficient with like building and designing things with your hands, and also now everything's on the computer, so with different softwares as well. But I just kept doing that ever since like 8th grade, around there. And I kept going with the program into high school. And in high school, I learned a lot more about myself. I learned that I love making art. I love all of the arts. I was decent at math and chemistry and physics and stuff like that. But I felt like I always had so many interests in so many different things, but this one thing has been consistent in my life for so long. So when it came time, senior year, you kind of have to figure out, are you going to go to college, and are you not going to go to college? If you are, then what are you going to do? Like, what profession are you going to try to gun for, or at least like start your path on and maybe develop into another profession? And I was like, this is something I've been doing for 6 years of my life. I've enjoyed the designing aspects very much, and there are a lot of things that I've excelled at, so let's just see where it goes.
Nice.
And that's kind of how I picked my profession. It wasn't like I know what I want to do. It's like, oh, this is working out for me. Let's see where it goes. I'm interested in what it has to offer, and it teaches me to see the world in a very different perspective from what you're normally, like, used to growing up. So I kind of went with it, and I think it worked. Kind of. I mean, that's what I do for a living now. But yeah, I think it worked, and I'm actually really happy that I kind of fell upon that opportunity at such a young age. Otherwise, I have no idea what I would do.
Well,
not a clue.
Well, I mean, I would think that you'd probably still end up a streamer. I mean, like it seems.
Hopefully, yeah.
I think like since like I think engineering is so. it seems very far removed from the whole entertainment aspect that is being an entertainer, a streamer, content creator. I think it's very far removed. So you probably would have ended up still being a streamer. Just you'd still be geeky. You just wouldn't be doing engineering, or maybe you'd be like I don't know, maybe working a part-time job or doing some other type of work in another area or something like that. Maybe something with computers or technology, something like that. Who knows? But hey, you're here. You're here. You're a streamer. You're an engineer, and like I really want to kind of dig into. You said how you see the world differently. I think that's a really interesting point to make, mainly because I think a lot of people tend to see the world very kind of flatly. I think people tend to like see the world as it is, rather than as a series of different elements that are working in harmony to create one thing. People see like a car on the street, and they just see a car running. An engineer would see like an engine, mufflers, the internal electrical, like, is it an electric car? Is it a gas propulsion? What is the battery that's inside of it? Like, I think like looking at things like more in a more detailed sense, I think is really, really interesting. And I'd like to know like in what way do you see the world differently, and how has that kind of shaped how how you interact with different people? And because I think most people see things at face value, while people like you and me, we see a little bit more. So has that like affected like your relationships with people, and just how has that kind of made you who you are? And that's a very kind of broad question, but hopefully it makes sense.
No, it definitely makes sense. Give me a second to think.
Yeah.
So I think growing up, I was one of those kids that was uber annoying because I would always ask questions.
Yeah, which is good.
Like, why is this how it is?
Yeah.
Or like, how does this work? Like, that makes no sense to me. Or like, I would always ask a bunch of questions that, parents are like, oh, why are you always asking me, But,
why are you so curious?
I just genuinely I was just always so curious, and I wanted to know how things worked, which I guess kind of played into the role of like how I got to this point in time. But once I started learning more about like the physics of how things are made up, I even at one point started taking like other side courses that the engineering program allowed me to take. So I did designer courses, both with AutoCAD and Inventor. Those were the two that I learned proficiently. I got really, really proficient at an early age.
Nice.
And I started seeing things on a more not a smaller scale, but like also bigger scale, if that makes sense.
So micro and macro.
So I started seeing the bigger picture. Yes, I saw both things on a micro scale and a macro scale. I could look at things and be like, okay, these forces are making it act like this. Or, these equations explain why this is occurring and why it's working. And these equations can also tell me why this thing that I'm trying to design could potentially fail if I added a certain amount of force or too much torque or whatever it is that I'm building, right?
Yeah.
So it really made me see things on a very mathematical level almost. And at one point I started taking architecture because I was interested. The teacher that was teaching it, I loved him to death. He kind of took me under his wing back then and kind of taught me a lot of what he knew because he'd been in the industry for many, many years. So I enjoyed how he taught, and he was so gung-ho about the design process, which is something that me as a mechanical engineer, we are always just very much so aware of and have to like abide by. But he taught it in such a way that I was like, wow, all of these, like literally every single thing that you ever interact with goes through this design process, from step one of concept to actually building it to getting it to the end user, is such an interesting process. When you break it down, you actually look at it, that it intrigues you, and it really makes you think differently. Like, why did someone add this particular groove to a mouse? Maybe it's because it's more ergonomical for your wrist, later down the line, and it helps, promote that physical health for the end user. It's really cool to be able to think in that way, but it's also a little overwhelming also.
Oh yeah, I bet. And like how has that manner of thinking like how does that affect your interactions with people? Do you feel like maybe you have to you have to bring things down to like a very kind of simplistic level in some cases, or like I wonder, like, do you talk like this normally to the people that you know, like kind of thing? Because like I wonder that's what I want to know, is that different than how you normally would speak with people?
Usually when I talk with people that I'm not too super close with, you know, I'm a little bit more lighthearted. You know, I'm not gonna start
blabbing about like torque. Yes. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a little bit more playful and silly, just me, you know. But if I do come across someone that is interested about talking about stuff like this, I get like really, really pumped up, because it's like, oh, I know so much about it. Let's really
go.
get in there.
Yeah.
But I have had like conversations with people, you know, who I'm starting to get to know, and I'm trying to get to know them. They're trying to get to know me, and I always am just open and honest about this stuff. I don't really hide much, but I am very, very quiet when I first meet people. I'm shy. I'm a little shy. But once you give me a shot, I definitely do start opening up a lot more, and I blab about all of the different things that I'm interested in.
Nice. Which is, I think it's like, obviously, like, I think being able to interact with people like at where they're at, I think is a sign of, you know, someone who is generally well adjusted. Like you said, you're not gonna like start blabbing about like all the idiosyncrasies of all the aspects that you're interested in, like from an engineering perspective. Right. Like some people just aren't ready for that. So I was just curious to know like if that has affected you, and you've explained it pretty well. So thank you for that. And it's honestly, I had no idea that you were I knew that you were geeky. I already knew that. But I didn't know that you were to the point where you were in like engineering level type stuff. Because like now I want to talk to you about these sorts of things. Like now I have questions. Like, so can you talk a little bit about like what kind of engineering you do? There are different kinds of engineering. Are you like a project engineer? Because like you mentioned, like why is a product designed in a certain fashion? Why does it have certain elements to it? Like kind of like the like from bringing a project like an idea from idea to bringing it to the market and then iterating on it, the iterative process that comes with the engineering process and just design and all that. What aspects, I guess, where do you lie in the engineering portion of things? Like, are you like a project engineer? Like, are you doing like for like tech stuff? Are you like engineering for like applications like on your mobile device or like PC? Or is it like more physical devices like PCs, mice, chairs, whatever, kind of that sort of thing? Physical or digital kind of stuff.
So I do a little bit of both. Now I went to school for mechanical engineering, which is a very generic level of engineering, because we're kind of taught a little bit of everything, so that when you decide which niche you're trying to go into, you kind of already know a little bit of everything to just go into it and then build upon that. But currently I am a design engineer, so my job is to look at things, see what's wrong, see what needs to be iterated or updated or improved upon, and make a design that meets the customer's needs, and then eventually it gets built. Currently I work as a design engineer that basically, I'm the reason why a lot of people have internet, basically. Okay. I design the electrical components to give people internet.
Wow.
That's currently what I do.
Holy shit, that's pretty important.
Before yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Before I got to this position, though, I had, you know, after COVID, it was really, really hard to find a job.
Of course.
Really, really hard, especially in
even
this
for engineers.
Industry.
I would say, like, wouldn't it be like,
even
easier?
for engineers?
Really? Okay.
As soon as I graduated, you know, know, or before I graduated, I should say, I had a secured job in Florida. But because of COVID, I got let go, basically. They weren't bringing in new hirees. They weren't hiring people. A bunch of places were putting out applications to hire people in this field, but they wouldn't do it. It was all for show of face. They weren't actually hiring people. And it took me about like a year and a half, 2 years to actually get the position that I work in now. But before then, I worked, you know, just a normal job, just like everybody else. But during that time, you know, I wasn't questioning things because it was one of those jobs where you just pick up, move, do the next thing, like you didn't really have to think about the process. So I could genuinely just feel my brain just like crying on the inside, right?
Yeah.
So I ended up going into full stack web development during that time because I still wanted to learn. I still wanted to use my brain. So I kind of do things physically and digitally at the same time as of right now. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So your specialty is like designing the components that allow people to use like Ethernet cables and such, or is it like router?
So basically,
type stuff?
It's more like fiber. So
like fiber optics.
I work with fiber to the home. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's what I do.
Nice. Yeah, I'm familiar with the term. I know that's basically just like that's like the isn't that like the pinnacle of like high-speed internet currently?
Yes. So a lot of the internet throughout the entire country currently works off of coax, but slowly these bigger companies are trying to merge to fiber, which is a lot more efficient, a lot more quicker, higher
more
speeds.
expensive for the consumer.
More expensive.
Yeah.
But it's more efficient and it's worth it. It's way worth it. I currently run off of coax, and you know, my upload speeds aren't as high as like someone who has fiber, but my download speeds are pretty fast. But that's the difference. You have better upload and download speeds, and it's really hard to get it to customers that, you know, probably don't live in big cities like, you know, New York or Maryland, DC, areas like that where it's like heavily populated, so it's like they kind of need the best internet possible.
Yeah.
So my current company kind of works with trying to get smaller, more rural places that same quality of service.
Nice.
Fun.
Okay.
Get to see all different places in the United States.
Yeah. So when you say you're trying to get that to certain locations, like, is your job scouting different locations, or are you just like on the engineering side? Like, are you like scouting different places? Because I would imagine the hardest people, like the places that are most difficult to get that sort of technology to are, like you said, people in rural areas. So I guess, like, can you share like what is the most difficult aspect of your job, of what you do?
Honestly, I think the most difficult part, okay, it's a two-parter.
Mm-hmm.
The first part is understanding how to design because when I get an area, I have to service anywhere from maybe like 20 different homes to 100, 200 different homes, right? And the hardest part about this job when it comes to designing that is I have to figure out how to get everybody service, but also you have to connect it to the big hub. It's called the head end, like in terms wise, but you have to connect all of these pre-existing homes that most likely already have internet and or are switching to an area that's probably like hundreds of miles away, but I have to make sure all of these houses are serviced and then route all the way back to the place that actually makes sure that they have internet in the first place. It's like a whole network system, and the engineering is in that. We have to splice, like, so in the real world you actually splice the wires to go to different homes, right? But on our end as designers, we have to like think about how the splicing actually works, both on the software and in the real world that makes sense so that everything works and nothing is going to like implode. Not implode, but you know what I mean, like not work.
Right. So just to make sure that I'm understanding, so you were handling the digital aspect of like how internet will flow through these spliced cables into people's homes on like the digital end, but you're also brainstorming the physical aspect of like where the wires are going to run, at what point will they be spliced, and how they are going to be run through different paths, so that the people who originally had the fiber optic connection will be able to still maintain that while letting people who will still be able to get that service in. Okay, cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that I was actually like understanding what you were saying, because like that's like
you got it.
Nice. Like I'm pretty geeky too. Just by default, I'm very, very curious. I want to know all the things about people, which is why we're talking about engineering at the head end of this podcast. That's why we're talking about it, because why not?
Look at you using your words.
Yeah. See, I'm listening. I'm listening to terms.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
So yeah, I got you. Like I'm so impressed. Like I'm honestly like, super impressed. Like I had no idea that this is what you did outside of streaming, and it's so interesting. It's definitely very interesting stuff. Yeah. So I guess on the flip side of things, I guess how did you come up with your name? Let's kind of like flip the script a little bit.
My name. Okay, so on Twitch, I go by Rogue064, which is a name that I've been using like my whole entire gaming career, basically.
Okay.
Oh man, all the way back in like elementary school, even. I think
was that during the Nintendo 64
console...
days? Maybe.
I don't think I could, like, it was like during the days, like the era where you could actually like play online with other people instead of just yourself. Yeah.
Gotcha. So it was after that.
So I think the first game that I could do that with was Xbox 360.
Yeah.
And I needed to come up with the name, so I was just like, Rogue sounds cool. Let's go with Rogue. Oh, no. There's I just remembered. Do you remember X-Men?
Of course I do. Rogue is my favorite character. Next to Psylocke.
Why.
Yeah.
I was just like, she's so hot.
She's so hot. Yeah.
I panicked. I have to. So I was just like, Rogue, that's going to be my name on every gaming platform ever, right? Mm-hmm. And then I went, and obviously there's already a Rogue, right? So
of course there is.
What am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I think the first thing that popped up was like 064. And I was like, yeah, we're just going to run with this for the rest of my life. But when I started streaming, right, and I started going on VRChat, I was like, well, I don't want to be Rogue064 on VRChat. And I feel like I'm a lot, more mature than I was when I first started with this name. So I was like, MissRogue sounds nice. I feel like that's classy and it's cute. So I went with it.
Nice. Yeah, I love, like, I had to ask because, like, again, like, I know X-Men. Rogue is by far one of the hottest characters in existence. One of them at least.
She is.
Yeah. But please suck all the energy out of me and leave me comatose. Thank you. Please and thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would even say that Rogue is probably like the first, like, I think X-Men is like Western. I think like Stan Lee came with X-Men, I think. So I don't know if it was Stan Lee. It probably wasn't Stan Lee.
Sure.
But anyway, like, Rogue is a Western created character. So I would say that Rogue was probably like the first succubus character in the West. Maybe, I don't know, possibly. I don't know. That's probably like a very far leap.
Red Ivy? Actually, I don't even really know Red Ivy's abilities.
Yeah, I am unsure.
We're gonna say that she is her queen.
Yeah, sure. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. Yeah. So that's really cool. That's so cool. Because I was wondering, because like I'm surprised you've never changed like your Twitch handle. We're not talking about your streaming just yet, but given that you're using with Rogue 064, I was surprised that like Maybe that's like referring to something. Maybe that has some sort of like significance. So because it's part of you, and that can be part of your history and such, I thought I'd ask about that pretty early on before we get into the streaming stuff. But yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Love that. So so I would say let's go ahead and jump into VRChat. Let's start at the very beginning.
Okay.
So with VRChat, how'd you first hear about it?
So I started VRChat because of BB.
Because of BB?
You know her as Beauty Banger,
Okay.
Top Booty Banger.
Yes.
She's got so many names.
Yes.
BB.
Yeah,
We all
BB.
know
We'll
her,
go
right?
with BB, yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I've met her back in college. So it's been like 5 years now, maybe. It's been a while. Okay.
Okay,
And
yeah.
she and I grew very, very close. We used to go on adventures all the time and stuff. So when I moved from Florida up here, we, all of that obviously ceased to exist. And it was like really hard because she was one of my closest friends. But I noticed that she was streaming a lot, and I would lurk in her streams, and I didn't really understand what VRChat was, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
But she seemed to have so much fun every time I would check up on her streams, and she seemed to just meet a lot of really cool people, and I was just like, that's actually really neat. You can meet really cool people. You don't necessarily have to be face to face. What if that's something we could do for our relationship? What if I could meet her halfway and we could still be able to hang out again? Obviously it's not going to be fully the same as physical, but it's close, and we could spend a lot more mono on mono time.
Yeah.
So I started VRChat not that long ago in December. I want to say middle to late December of last year.
Really? Wow.
And,
Even later than me.
Yeah.
You're the first guest I've had that started after me. Everyone that I've interviewed has always started before me. They've always started before me or around the same time. But yeah, I had no idea that you're so baby.
A baby.
You're still baby. Yeah.
I'm a baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So I started because of her, and I'm glad that I did because have more opportunity to hang out with her. And on top of that, I've made a lot of awesome friends here as well. And even as last month, I got to meet a lot of VRChat friends IRL going to Lost Lands.
Yes.
So that was incredible, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. So yeah, I'm glad that I decided to make this choice.
Nice. So basically, your intention of starting to do VRChat was to hang out with BB, essentially, hang out with your friend, basically. So
Yeah,
I guess
that's how it started.
Yeah. So I guess what got you to getting the technology? Did you already own the technology, or did that come after you got into VRChat? I guess how quickly did you decide to invest?
So I was a desktop user for the longest time. I still love desktop girlies are where it's at, okay? I love being on desktop because you're just kind of chill. You don't have to worry about suiting up. to get on.
Yeah, sure.
But I would meet so many people, and most of them had either half body or full body.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just see how they would interact with each other. And obviously on desktop, you're very, very limited on what you can do interaction wise, right?
Right.
So when I watched how other people interacted with each other inside of the game, I realized, they're experiencing this a lot more differently than I am. And I would like to see what it's like. So I'm very grateful that my community helped me get my headset. And for a while, I was just half body. And I could kind of see a little bit better as to why people really enjoyed coming into this game, because it's you can actually not physically but kind of physically be with someone.
Yeah.
And it's entirely different when instead of just looking through a screen, you are a part, like you're in looking through a screen, but you're also a part of the screen.
Yeah, you feel more physically present, of course. Yeah. Yeah,
Right,
it's a much more
right.
physically present experience for sure.
It's more grounding.
Yeah.
It's more grounding.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it more real. Yeah.
Nice.
You make I think a deeper connection when you can see a little bit of someone's body language a lot more.
And like reach out and
as
touch
opposed to
them as well.
Yeah, as opposed to just
Yeah, to being like
standing straight.
yeah, you're very much like and
Yeah.
when you're a desktop user, you're very much kind of like. And then half body,
Right.
you are still kind of like that, but you have like you can like turn. Well, I guess you can turn in desktop too, but it's just like
Yeah.
it's not as
feel-
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when you're on desktop, you have to rely on your body language coming through your voice.
Yes.
You have to like emote through your voice a lot more, which can be tiring.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
if you're always doing that, right? But in VR, you can actually use more of your natural body language, which is natural, so it's not as tiring. Personally, I don't know. I'm an EP person, so I'm always tired. But
Yeah.
it makes the experience a lot more real. If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Yeah, for like I do actually want to kind of double back. We're talking about VR chats. We were going to some really like geeky stuff before. But we will double back. We'll come back to VR chat in just a second. But I did want to kind of ask you about just really quickly. I know that you've mentioned in the past of like being very introverted, and like how you kind of grew up like that. And like you were like very much the quiet one in the group. I'm kind of like I remember you telling the story on one of your streams about like you meeting this friend of yours, who I believe made your emotes, if I remember correctly. And
Vesper,
yeah, Vesper, right? And like I just kind of wanted to like I wanted to ask a little bit more about like just you personally. Do you feel that you are still the same person that you were back then in terms of being so introverted? Because I know you're like you didn't really talk with Vesper until she brought up like like I like anime or I read manga. It was one of those things, if I remember correctly, that kind of got you finally talking and such with her. So do you think you are you're less introverted than you used to be back then, or do you feel that you're still like on the same wavelength as you were back then?
I definitely wouldn't say that I'm the same person as I was back then.
Yeah,
I've definitely emotionally matured a lot more.
Mm-hmm. I would hope so. Yeah.
I feel like me too. I think as of right now, I think I'm still an introvert.
Same.
But I have a lot more extroverted tendencies. So I go to music festivals. I go to concerts when I can, because I enjoy the atmosphere. I enjoy being able to meet new people on the same level. I enjoy going to museums, looking at art, exploring different places I've never been to before, and meeting people along the way, potentially like making long-term like friends. I've made friends all over the world, which is really cool, and it's something I definitely wouldn't have been able to do, like, let's say 6, 7, maybe even 10 years ago when I was, how old am I? When I was 15.
How old am I?
I actually have to think about it because I'm like, wait a minute. How old am I? But yeah.
So you're 25.
But definitely like, I'm 25. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is no secret.
Gotcha.
It's not something I really care to hide. But when I was 15, I'm a completely different person. I was more inward to myself. I didn't really talk much, but I internalized almost everything. I feel like I perceived the world, or kind of just like saw the world in a different light than I do now. I would internalize every single piece of information that I got, whether it was, just generically going through life or interacting with other people. But now I've grown up a lot more and I'm able to let people in a little bit more. I'm a lot better at being vocal about my emotions, which is very healthy.
Yes.
Don't bottle things up. Don't do it. It's not good. I've done it. Don't do it. Just if you need to cry, let it out.
Yes. 100% agreed. Yes.
Right. But no, I definitely think now I'm at a better headspace where I can be extroverted when I want to, but also I'm more mindful that I do have a little bit of a shorter energy bar to be mindful of, and moving forward, I know, okay, if I'm gonna do this one thing, that's probably the big event for me for the day. So all of my energy is gonna go towards that. I can't necessarily just be social 24/7. I will literally burn out and be so sad.
Yeah.
I need my alone time.
I feel that 100%. That is 100% how I am as well. Sometimes I have to force myself to kind of do a little bit more, to be a little bit more social, a little bit extra social. But generally speaking, I'm right there with you. I need my alone time. I need time to. I have to monitor how I'm dividing my energy so that I know what I'm capable of doing. So I'm not overextending myself. So basically the same thing that you're saying. I'm right there on the same wavelength in that regard. So. Cool.
All right.
Yeah, but I did just want to kind of ask about that because I do have a personal interest in psychology. I really want to understand how people's minds work, and I try to kind of dig into that a little bit on my podcast to just kind of see where their headspace is and how they like you said, how you perceive the world and stuff. So I love that. So speaking of having friends all around the world, I'm assuming that that VRChat helped with that, helped make that happen.
Definitely, but I think I met the most friends around the world in college. I'm very grateful that I went to a college that has the most international case.
Really?
The entirety of they're very proud about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so by going there, I've made friends in China and in all of the European countries that you could think of, in Africa and Canada, all over the US. And I'm still, I don't talk to them every day, but I'm still in contact to them. And I know if, I would go to Switzerland, for example, I could call up 2 or 3 people on the spot and I'd have a place to stay, at least for a few days, with people I've talked to and I've hung out with and made bonds with in college. But I feel like when I did enter VRChat, that definitely got expanded upon. So I've made a lot more friends in Europe than I ever had in the past, and I'm hoping in the future, as we grow closer and we get a lot more comfortable with each other, I wouldn't mind, going back to Europe, because I've been twice already,
nice.
For school and stuff. But I definitely think it's expanded my reach of knowing people. For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Whereabouts in Europe have you been?
I've been to the UK, Switzerland, the Netherlands, Belgium, Croatia, Malta, Ireland, a little bit of Scotland, and I think that's it for the moment. Yeah.
Nice. And I guess what I guess kind of briefly, obviously we can't talk about each and every place that you went to, but I don't know if it's all connected with why you were in those specific places, but how did you end up? I know Europe is very kind of interconnected. The US is very much kind of it's states. It's not countries. I mean, some states do seem like you're going to a completely different country. In some cases, you go to Texas, it's a completely different place than most other places in the country. But I guess how did you end up in getting to all those places and in such a, I guess, in such a short period of your life, you're still in your mid-20s. I guess were you able to like make that happen? How were you able to afford it? Like, how did you end up there?
In college, I got very lucky and I got accepted to study for 2 summers at Oxford University in the UK. So when I was
Oxford
there,
Oxford is nothing to sneeze at, for sure. It's nothing to sneeze at. Oxford is a, like, top of the line. That's a top of the line school.
Yeah, no, it is. And I'm definitely very, very grateful that I had the opportunity to actually go there, live there like any other Oxford student, and study there for 2 summers. I'm very, very happy and blessed that I got to go through that. But, you know, I was in UK for a long time, and I was like, all these other countries are like literally right there. Like, it's like a 20-minute plane ride or a 20-minute, okay, not 20 minutes, but you know what I mean. It's a
They're very
short,
close.
like, travel to get there. I'm going to explore while I can. I'm here, you know? And of course, a couple of those trips were like, you know, school-funded trips. Oh, yes, I've also been to France. So France was one of them where, you know, you could pay an X amount of money to go with the school students and do touristy things if you want, or whatever it is that you want to do in these countries. But there were some weekends where we didn't have anything planned. And so I was like, I want to see different things. So I think the first time, the only other country that I got to go to by myself was no, I think I went to 2 that time. Croatia and the Netherlands. We went to Amsterdam. And then the second time that I got invited to go study there again, I planned a little bit more because I knew what I was getting myself into.
Right.
So I went to Switzerland for a week. I got a car and I drove around. I figured out where I was going to be, and I kind of just explored. I had plans along the way, but I didn't have like this is happening at this time. I didn't have like strict itinerary, and I just explored. And I got to see a lot more countries that way as well. So it's very good.
That's very, very cool. So, back to VRChat, actually. So,
yes.
So, I guess like when you first got into VRChat, and you're like you've only been in VRChat for not even a year, actually, which is wild to think about. I guess what was the thing that really like aside from, you know, hanging out with your bestie, what really captured your attention the most about VRChat, and why did you end up staying?
I gotta think about that one. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, sure. Take your time.
Because there were a lot.
Yeah.
I think so. We've already definitely talked about for a while now, like how I've traveled a lot, and I enjoy traveling a lot. I think it's definitely a part of me. I like adventuring and seeing new places. VRChat, though, you can do that very, very easily.
Yeah.
You can go see all these different worlds, and it's kind of like going to a museum almost, seeing different people's artwork. You can see all of these different worlds with friends and make memories, you know? And that's one of the funnest parts for me. Like every so often, I'll literally have a list of like 20 to 30, maybe even 50 worlds just compiled, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get a group of friends, and we're just gonna go world hopping for the next 5 hours. What do you say? Okay, let's do that. It's gonna be fun. And I enjoy doing that because sometimes, like, you know, not all of the worlds are amazing, but sometimes you really do find really special worlds that you wouldn't have like found if you just went through the little menu, you know, that VRChat has.
Fair.
So I think that's like the biggest thing that kept me like wanting to come back. Like, I want to explore, and this allows me to do it very easily.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
nice.
You can like literally like see different countries in VRChat because people are like building like literal like dioramas in VRChat that allows you to see like real ass places just in VR. That someone has just built like nearly 1-to-1 in some cases. for the really ambitious. But like people are just making so many crazy, really interesting things in VRChat. Which is super awesome.
Yeah.
So like, would you consider yourself like a world hopper? Like there, we know, like, you know, there are different like categories of VRChat users. So where would you kind of fall in terms of like, are you like a world hopper, or are you like a mirror dweller? Are you just kind of like you're just hanging out with friends? Like where do you think
It depends
you land?
on the vibe. It depends on the vibe, because yes, if I'm by myself, you know, I am like, yep, if I'm by myself or I'm with like a small group of friends who are down, I'll world hop. Or if I'm with a group of people who we're all really comfortable with and we just kind of want to chill and talk, I'm a mirror dweller. If I am really yearning to hear some bass in my face, I'm a raver. I'll go to rave worlds. It kind of just depends on how I'm feeling, or, you know, what's going on, the people I'm with. But I don't really think I fall in a specific like category. I just kind of come online and do whatever feels right for that time. No?
Okay, yeah, I feel that. How long? I guess, okay. Well, we'll ask the hard question first. How many hours do you have in VRChat so far?
As of today, I looked. I have over 900 hours, a little over 900.
Okay. I think that's pretty standard for your amount of time in VRChat. I think like someone who's actually like streaming in VRChat and also uses it on the side, I think it makes sense for that to be like for the amount of time that you've been here. And because I'm thinking of how long I've used VRChat, like how long I've been in VRChat, which I recently found that my first time getting into VRChat, I believe, was April 19th of last year. So that was like my very first night in VRChat, essentially. So like given my number and your number, that makes perfect sense. Like 900 I think is pretty standard. And like what
how many hours do you have?
At this point it's probably I think I probably hit 2K. I think tonight I may hit over 2K.
Ooh.
Yeah. Because like
Happy 2K.
Thank you. I mean, I also sleep in VRC, so that's another thing. So that's another thing that I end up doing, which, you know, racks on the hours and such. So yeah. But the question that's gonna follow that question is, what do you usually find yourself doing? Are you usually by yourself, or usually with friends? And when you're by I guess in both cases, and when you're by yourself, what do you do? And when you already answered what do you do with friends, so like are you mostly by yourself or with friends? And what do you do when you're by yourself?
I think most of the time when I'm on VRChat, I'm with friends. And I feel like most of the time it's either like I'm going to a party or we're in LS Media watching something. Real cozy vibes, just chilling. When I'm by myself, I'm mostly either just hopping around to see how friends are doing, or I'm just world hopping by myself and just listening to music and vibing mostly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that makes perfect sense. Yeah, that's I think that's kind of the usual for most people, I would say. I think like I'm not gonna go into what I do by myself, like that we can save that for like whenever I get interviewed by whomever. But we can say that for like my my podcast episode. But I think that's pretty standard for most people. Like most people in VRChat are looking to interact with other people. I think it makes sense. I think for a lot of people, like, correct me if I'm wrong or if you think differently, I think most people who go into VRChat are looking for a social interaction. They're looking for some manner of connection with other people in some shape or form.
For sure.
And I would think most people are not typically by themselves in VRChat. What do you think?
Yeah. I feel like 9 times out of 10 people come onto VRChat to socialize, like you just said. But personally, I don't always come on VRChat to socialize. I'm very comfortable with my own company, so I'm okay with being online and being by myself. But no, I definitely think what you said is correct. Most people do come on here, especially after COVID, right? People long for that connection, and it's very, very easy to do that. This platform.
Agreed. And it seems like you seems like how you feel about VRChat has largely been positive. So can you share like the thing that you like the most, and one thing you like the most about VRChat? You can't say your friends. Everyone that I've asked this question to, they say like, oh, the people, it's the people, the people, the people.
Friends.
My friends. Yeah. So like what is your favorite thing about VRChat? Because I already know you love the people here. Obviously, you wouldn't. If you didn't love the people here, you wouldn't be on this podcast. So we already know that. So like, besides the people, what's your favorite thing that you really love about VRChat? And what's the thing that you wish that that could improve about VRChat? It could be either a personal thing or a thing that you've seen that everybody kind of experiences.
I think my favorite thing about VRChat is the ability to think artistically in a 3D sense. It allows people to be more artistic. It invites people to learn how to be more artistic, whether that's creating an avatar for the first time, editing an avatar to the way that you want to be seen and accepted, or creating a world, which uses real life like architecture skills sometimes and forethought. So I really, really enjoy that aspect of allowing people to express themselves in a way where you couldn't, like literally 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's really, really fun. I enjoy that a lot.
Cool. And the one thing you wish that you could that could be improved about it?
I feel like you've heard this a lot.
Probably.
But I do wish that there was some means of not separating, adults from kids, because there are a lot of kids that use this game, and play this game. But it would be nice to kind of separate that a little bit, or at least, I don't really know how they would implement that, but it would make the adults at least feel a lot more safe, knowing that they can just fully be their adult self and not have to worry about a potential adolescent, or I don't want to say child, but child, come out of nowhere and probably hear or interact with something that they shouldn't, with adult content. No one wants to get in trouble. No one wants to jeopardize anybody in any way, shape, or form. And I really wished that VRChat would allow its older population, have that ease of mind a little bit. Don't know how they'll do it. It probably won't, but it would be nice.
Yeah. That has definitely been an answer that people have said in the past. Past guests have said something similar in the past, for sure. Well, as someone who is an engineer, from both the digital side and the physical side, do you have any thoughts? Like, just like if you could do it any sort of way, like, and it didn't matter like what they currently have in place, like coding wise, technically, server wise. If you could just come up with a solution yourself, do you have any ideas?
I think, well, okay. So a lot of people access this software through Steam.
Right.
I think a potential way that they could monitor, or at least keep the older audience a little bit, I feel like the best way they could have a better peace of mind that they're interacting with other adults is, for example, when you go to look at a game on Steam, right? If it's like a R-rated game or mature rated game, it usually will ask for your birthday.
Yes.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously you can lie about that. But
yes.
If Steam were to say like, okay, we need to know what your birthday is in adjacent to this particular account that you're accessing this game on, right? I feel like VRChat could easily just like do like a double check. Like, okay, this person said that they are 30 years old, right?
Right.
And if users find out, after interacting with this person that they are not 30 years old, they could kind of like help Steam or help VRChat realize that this person is not an adult or not the age that they're saying, and kind of wheedle them from like the adult like worlds or adult settings a little bit better, so that, you know, it's not so invasive, but also allows, you know, adults to report to VRChat that, hey, this person might be underage, you know, and based off of like what we've like this evidence, or, you know, what we've had like interaction wise with this person, they're underage. Could you potentially kind of pull their access towards places where they're with people their own age, as opposed to being able to go into NSFW events very easily? Because anyone could do that. Anyone can lie about their age, and, you know, they shouldn't necessarily be penalized for doing that, because literally everyone does that.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
I'm hoping not everyone does that, but, you know, people do that.
Yes.
And it would allow that kind of communication and kind of safety net, so, you know, the child is safe and not interacting with things that they shouldn't be, and adults are also safe because they have a less chance of interacting with people, or they can report that, hey, this person is young, we should not be with, or they shouldn't be around older adults talking about mature content. Please keep us safe, and, you know, stuff like that. I don't know if that's potentially a thing that could happen. I don't even know if that's feasible. But if I had to think on the fly, that's what I think it like could potentially help.
Okay. So it's actually really interesting that you say all that, because have you heard of content gating?
Oh.
You haven't? Okay. So the content gating is actually a recent update that that VRChat implemented. So I would say that your suggestion isn't like totally off the mark. Your suggestion of like having it either so that users could like report it to Steam, or like help Steam like kind of help them understand like, okay, this person is underage. Despite the fact that I would say most people do they do engage with VRC through Steam. Steam is just hosting. They're basically hosting. Making the game available on their platform. So ideally, your idea of having it of like reporting things to VRChat directly, I think would be best, because despite people, you know, logging into VRC via Steam, VRChat actively tries to have people use their website instead, because like they don't want people using Steam. They want people to use their website. So I think it helps VRChat's devs better to like, you know their user base better, and have those connections going like directly through their website, so that they can keep track of like who's in and out. So again, I'm just kind of spitballing there because I don't really know how that interaction works, but I do know that like people can log in from either Steam or from VRChat. But I remember when I first got into VRChat, they were asking, we would prefer you to use VRChat, have a VRChat account, not your Steam account, because you have an option to do one or the other. So that's the first thing. The second thing is related to what I mentioned before about content gating. That is a recent update that VRChat implemented, which basically, like in a nutshell, it forces creators to tag the content that they're creating, whether it's an avatar or a world, and they have to use special tags to allow VRChat to monitor the kinds of content that exists in VRChat as a whole. And by doing so, they're able to take users who have like stated that they are a certain age and gate them from those avatars, worlds, etc. It's a relatively new update that was put out by VRChat, probably I'll say like a month or so ago at this point, maybe a month and a half at this point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so like there is being strides being made, and by the time this comes out on YouTube, it'll probably be even better than it was like from the point we're talking about it right now. But I think it will. I think eventually it may be possible to be able to like have users be, you know, like flagged by other users as too young for this content, or too young to be exposed to this content, or too young to be using this particular avatar. And of course they'll have to have like VRChat will have to have a method in place, a checks and balances in place to make sure that these aren't false reports, of course.
Allegations. Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I think VRChat potentially already has the equipment to be able to do that because, you know, if certain people ban a certain user or I guess block a certain user, I think that's how it works here. If they block a certain user and it's multiple people, then you go down from like trusted to like the other rank below that.
Yeah.
I don't remember how the user ranks work.
Yeah, it's fine.
I kind of stopped paying attention to that, but I think you go down like a user rank, quote unquote, and they already have something in place for that. It's just I guess they would have to implement actually checking and doing like a little bit of background check.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I definitely think it's feasible, and you know, if someone was underage, a minor, and they reported that they were 30 years old for whatever reason, and people found out, you know, they're not 30, they're a minor.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily need to be penalized for that because it's the internet.
Yeah.
You know, they can just easily be wheedled out of NSFW or adult-rated content and just put with, you know, other minors. So they can have a safe interactions with people their actual age.
Yeah. I think it would be really, really cool. I think it would be really, really well, actually, I had the idea and then I thought about it more. For like again, the brain is a fucking awesome fucking computer. Like I thought of an idea and then I immediately disproved it. So my idea was like it would be really cool if you could create an instance that is like age gated. So like you can only say a person of this age can only enter this instance type of thing. But then again, you know, I mean, obviously we kind of already have that with groups. Basically, like if someone is in a group, you know, you are essentially creating a circle of people who are, you know, being checked by the moderators of said group. You know, I think you can essentially create a group, a gated experience by using the group functionality. So kind of already exists, but you know, I was thinking that people could just, you know, it doesn't really matter. You could just, you know, say, yeah, I'm 18 years of age to enter this instance type of thing. Yes, boom. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So yeah, I guess it really just it comes down to the user base and also to the devs like trying their best to obviously not being too heavy-handed. Because there will be false positives. There will be people who try to abuse the system, as with every system like that exists. And it really boggles my mind that like again, I don't work in engineering, but I do work in tech. So like it just boggles my mind that there are so many people who have these very positive opinions of other humans that they think that because they built this functionality to work in this way, that they think that it won't be abused. They think that people underage won't make use of it, or people won't throw dicks on the fucking thing. Like it's so weird to me that people who are grown adults don't understand that the younger generation, they're very, very, I wouldn't say they're, like, a lot of them are very intelligent, but I would say that a lot of them are also just obnoxious idiots who are just looking to finagle their way through every little thing in life. And I just you have to.
Could be.
You have to. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like you when you build certain functionalities and certain products, and just when you're building a certain type of application, whatever, you have to account for the abuse. Like you have to account for that people will abuse this system, and you have to find workarounds for that. So I'm always thinking in that way. But the people at my company, like not all the time. But a lot of the times, like there's too many people who are they think too well of people. I think too well of people.
You think like an engineer.
Really?
That's why. No, because in the design process, right? One of the part of it is how can I make this product or whatever it is that I'm building fail? You always have to do your failure checks, and then on top of that, you also have to think about your end user. That is like the biggest thing that you should be thinking about. How is the end user going to interact with this product safely? Or if I were the end user, how would I possibly try to break this? These are there are always questions that like engineers have to think about when they're making something, because they can and will happen.
Yes.
We're humans. We want to test things. We want to push boundaries. That's just inner nature. So you have to account for that with everything you build.
Yeah, 100%. But I'm oddly convinced that there are some people who are in that line of work, the engineering type line of work, who are only thinking in one way. They're thinking of how can I build this in the most efficient way possible that achieves the goal that I was asked to build it in, and it will work for the end user. And like they're not thinking about like kids using it. They're not thinking about how it can be broken. They're just thinking about how can they build this in a way right now, get it done as quickly as possible. And I guess when you're like a startup situation, the iteration process could come after the initial build. Okay, I'll give it that.
Right.
But still, like I think that there's not enough people in that line of work who are thinking in the most diabolical sense. Like, what is the worst possible thing I can do with this thing? Kind of mindset. But you know, I'm always thinking that way, because you know, humans are very they're very interesting creatures, as I found from, you know, existing on this plane of existence as a deadly sin. I found that humans are extremely they have their propensity for curiosity and to want to break things and to abuse things. So yeah, it's been happening since the dawn of time.
I think I can say there might be like some other like subtle levels to the reason why people might not think of, you know, this potential possibility happening. And this is sometimes when you're making something, you know, you only have a finite amount of resources to make it happen. So like you said, as a startup, like, yeah, it makes sense. You know, you're trying to get this up and running as fast as possible, but it's the iterations afterwards where it's like, you know, you've proven to be successful. You know, why aren't you improving on the things that should happen or that matter, or that your user base is saying you need to improve upon, but you're ignoring? It could do a little bit with money, but you know, that's a whole topic that I don't know.
That is true. Like, I mean, you could count money as just a resource. Like, money could be accounted as a resource in that equation.
Oh no, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I get you. Yeah.
You know, with investors and stuff, you know, you have to prove your numbers, and if most of your users are young of age, it gets a little dicey, I think. I don't know. I'm not dev, so I don't know the answers, but that's just what I'm speculating.
Yeah, and you know, I think, like, I have talked about this with other guests about the idea of, like, you know, they don't want to completely cut VRChat off from, you know, the younger people, because that's where their numbers are. That's how they prove that VRChat is the actual successful product, and that's how VRChat is essentially getting their money from investors. They're saying we have this many users, this many users use it at this much during the day, on a daily, like, we have daily active users, monthly active users. You know, they look at all those numbers and they present that to investors and say, hey, this is a proven product, give us money. So it makes sense that they don't want to get rid of the people who are going to ultimately help them to make the product better, which is why we have kids running rampant on this platform and all such like that. So hopefully content gating will become a more advanced positive thing. I saw a lot of creators on Twitter talking about that this is a very good thing for them, like a lot of like world builders talking about how this is a good thing for VRChat. Like how they had no problem adding tags to, you know, make sure that their content is easy to find and easy to have, you know, minors, you know, not interact with, type of thing. But then there was also the argument of like self-reporting, the idea of like, you know, if I'm going to make this very spicy Avi,
that's true.
You're essentially self-reporting, in that regard. But
yeah,
but I don't.
Very spicy, dicey.
It is, but what I think is like it's not exactly self-reporting, because if you create this Avi, it just means that a person who is a certain age would not be able to access that Avi. Like, that's what I think. You can make the Avi, you can create the product, you can create the thing, make it available in VRChat. But if it's a person a certain age and it has a certain tag, that means that person at that age can't use that Avi. So you get to still create what you want, but they just can't use it, which I think is the most feasible way to do it without penalizing the creator and allowing them to have the freedom to continue to create what they create. At least that's what I would think and hope of this new initiative.
No, that definitely makes sense. I feel like for that to happen, though, they would definitely have to have some sort of age check and balance kind of system implemented.
Absolutely. It would definitely have to be improved.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. So let's keep talking about VR in general. We've talked a lot about VRChat specifically, but as an engineer, someone who is very familiar with just technology, like you help create solutions for getting internet to various people across the U.S. I think discussing like VR virtual reality technology, I think is a pretty feasible topic to bring up. I like to bring it up with whomever, whether you're an engineer or not, because I think people have opinions, and I think they should be heard. So, where would you like to see virtual reality go in the future? Like, how would you like to see it evolve in the coming years?
It's kind of already happening with the recent Quest 3 coming out.
Absolutely, yeah.
Ever since I was a kid and I started learning about technology and VR and AR, there are only a few companies that actually do this properly as of yet. But I would really enjoy being able to see VR and AR merge into one.
So mixed reality, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. I would really enjoy seeing that, and we're actually already starting to see that with the Quest 3. I've seen so many videos of people, they're making food or something and just watching YouTube, just a little window up there, and there's something we already do with VR headsets, but we can't actually interact with the real world, and it would be nice to kind of break that barrier. But also, at the same time, that's a little scary because you've seen Black Mirror, right?
I have not, but I need to watch it sometime soon. I really do.
Should,
I need to for someone who loves psychology, I need to watch Black Mirror. Yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
Oh, you should. Yeah. It's very much so that same vibe. Technology could get so advanced that it kind of messes up our own society as it is right now.
So basically, where we already are at right now. We're already we're on the train. We're on the train towards.
We're on the train. Yeah. It's going. You might as well see where it goes at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we're already pretty much heading that way. So I'm just kind of excited to see how it'll mature, and if it'll become commercialized, so that anybody can use it. Because right now, there's very much so a price tag, a very big price tag to get into VR itself.
Yeah.
And you have options. My leg is doing all sorts of things. You have options, but it's still not easily accessible to everybody. And I would be very interested to see what VR or mixed reality would be like if it was accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
Be interesting.
Yeah. I think I agree. It would be very interesting to see where things go. I think mixed reality, I would foresee it becoming a thing in terms of I guess I think once technology gets to a point where we can create smaller and smaller devices that avoids us having literal toasters on our, not literal, but toaster sized entities on our faces. I think once technology can get to that point, because when you really think about it, when the first computers were fucking massive, they even called there was the computer that was that could barely do very much, it could only hold a little bit of data, and then there were supercomputers that were these massively sized entities that they had to be big to do more processing essentially. But that was when computer technology first began in development. So if we went from that to being able to have like laptops that are like for example, like I don't know like the latest laptops. I haven't really looked into them lately, but they like the MacBook Air comes to mind. Like the Air that's like super super thin, but it still functions. It doesn't have that much power, but it still functions, and it's like light as a feather essentially. If we can do that, we went from that to that. I think the same thing goes for VR. Like we're in the early stages of VR.
For sure.
And so like I do think that as technology continues to improve, as technology improves, we're already like we're on that train. We're on that track. Quantum computing is still very much being looked into. It's probably something we could see probably in the next decade or so, like the very early stages of quantum computing, which would then make it possible to have smaller devices, because you can have a smaller device to have more power integrated through like computer like quantum mechanics, that sort of thing. Like you won't need like physical like devices, because like now again we have like hard drives, we have solid state drives that are literally like this size. Like
they're so small and compact now.
Yeah,
it's like crazy.
Exactly. Like I use one of them. Like I have one in my PC right now. It's wild, like how technology has like gone and become more and more compact. So I definitely agree. I think we're in the very early stages of VR, and I think in the next decade or so, as things evolve, we can definitely see some really big developments with just the physical design of things, improving and slimming out to the point where they can be like glasses, to the point where they can be contacts, type of thing. And then Elon Musk will put chips in all of our brains, and then we'll have Neuralink, and then we'll be a hive mind.
Yippee!
it'll be happy fun times where we can know just how horrible people are in general. We can.
Oh my gosh.
Who needs to open our mouths so we can just communicate telepathically, right?
That would be nice. Honestly, that would be so nice. Like I wouldn't have to talk. I could just think and you would know. That'd be nice.
Yeah, it would be.
I feel like that would get mentally exhausting after some time. I don't know.
It would. I think so. I really do think so. I agree. So like basically, like I think VR is definitely like well on its way. It's gonna get a lot better very quickly, very very soon. But what's your thing that you're looking forward to? What is your favorite thing that you're personally looking forward to in terms of like what would you like to see? Like one thing that you would hope to see in the future.
Just VR wise.
Yeah, VR, AR, mixed reality.
I think.
Like, what would you like to see? Like, would you like to see SAO, full dive, better haptic technology, things like that.
I think I would really enjoy seeing the graphics improve, because when you think about it, right? When we were younger and we used to look at video games, we're like, oh yeah, this is the top of line graphics, or even movies, right?
Yeah.
CGI is so great. And then you look at it now and you're like, wow, this is not that great actually.
Yeah.
I really want to see that level. I wanted to get to like levels of like Uncanny Valley?
Uncanny Valley?
Uncanny Valley?
Yeah, Uncanny Valley.
That's what it's called, right? Yeah.
You want
I want to see if it ever gets there.
Do you want to see the Uncanny Valley, or do you want us to get to that point? Or do you want to go beyond the Uncanny Valley? Do you want to see it, or do you want to go beyond it? To the point where we can't distinguish, because we're actually already there, believe it or not. But I want to hear your answer.
I think it would be interesting to see, but also I don't know if we can handle that, as to go beyond Uncanny Valley, where to the point where you can't discern real life from like virtual life.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of scary. That's a scary lane to go down, I think.
Why is it scary for you?
Definitely would be interesting. I don't know, because not being able to discern, what you're actually physically going through and what you're virtually going through. feel like that's a bit of a mind fuck a little bit. You would have to have a lot of mental fortitude to be able to mix both of those in a healthy way, in my opinion. In my opinion, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think it's healthy personally if we went that far. But I don't know. You said that we're technically already there. I don't know, tell me about that. School me about that.
Yeah. So basically, I'm sure you've heard of Unreal Engine. Yeah. So essentially, Unreal Engine 5, like I think we're at 5.2 currently. We're at a point essentially where even as far back as not as far back, but when Unreal Engine 5 was first released, people have ultimately created scenarios where like I think one of the most famous examples of Unreal 5 engine in play is essentially recreating a city that is akin to the city that existed in The Matrix, the movie The Matrix. It's basically someone created a full massive city that is akin to what The Matrix was in the movie, in the film, and it was indistinguishable from. It was almost indistinguishable from real life. Like you would look at the screen and like, yeah, that's like New York City or some shit. And like, no, it was created digitally type thing. So like, Unreal Engine 5 is already pushing the boundaries of like, what is real and what is not. There was another Unreal Engine test that was created that actually showed what was ultimately a train station. And the train station had a very similar architecture. The way it was built was very similar to what you would see like in a rural town in Japan, for example. So someone created this like train station, and like you would like this would be played, and essentially like most people would be like, yeah, that's a train station in Japan, but it wasn't. It actually is just graphics, it's pixels, but it was done so well that you could literally barely tell the difference. So that's just kind of in a world building sense. Unreal Engine 5 is definitely kind of pushing those boundaries to get closer and closer. Like Unreal Engine 6 is going to be like ridiculous, but it's taken us so long to get. It's taken us so long to get to Unreal Engine 5. So Unreal 6 is very far into the future, but we're already kind of pushing that with just this current iteration of that engine. So that's just kind of with world building. There is I don't remember if it is related to Unreal Engine 5 or not. I don't remember, but there's also a way for like facial recognition. To essentially, it's meant to kind of stand in for mocap. So facial, like you're basically able to take the expressions, like you can record a real person's face, a real person's facial expressions, and you can save those facial expressions, and then have the computer like digitize all those expressions, and then you can take those points that the computer created off of a real person and apply them to NPCs that you've created with actual like not only not only with like the facial expressions, but like actually the how to build the face, like designing the face to make it look real, to make the expressions look real, because it's taken from a real person. It's like mocap, but just being able to redistribute that same mocap from that person onto like male and female type NPCs, so you get that realism that's been digitized by the program to ultimately create what would appear to be a real person. And so we're already kind of doing that. That's another part. The third part is voice, and the vocal part is the most important thing, which is a real issue in terms of artificial intelligence, taking people's voices and like using them for various reasons, not crediting the creator. This is a really big issue in the voice acting community, where famous voice actors are like, we do not approve of having our voices being used and spliced to be used as artificial intelligence. If you want us to be in your project, you should hire us to do the thing. So
Right.
artificial intelligence in that regard is also kind of developing that point to getting to a point where people can't distinguish an actual person's voice, kind of thing. So basically, there's still work to be done with regards to like making real sounding voices, but someone like me I'm very in tune with the human voice. I can tell if something is AI or not. I can listen to it and tell. I know that a lot of people, maybe yourself, you can look at a piece of artwork and tell that it's AI. Like just like a few seconds of looking at a piece of artwork, you can tell if it's artificial intelligence or not, like AI generated. And then we have the uncanny valley, which is kind of like where we're at in terms of like most video game development. Like they're trying to push it, but like UE5, like Unreal Engine 5 is still it's still very, very early. So not many developers are making use of that technology just yet. But I know, like with the issue with Unity and people moving away from Unity, I know that that's UE5 is probably going to become very, very widely used. It'll probably become the de facto engine that's used for gaming, I would imagine, because of Unity fucking itself over. I'm sure you've heard about that.
Actually, no.
No.
I haven't.
Okay.
What's going on with Unity?
What's going on with Unity is yeah. So to kind of like shorten the story, basically, this Unity, led by its CEO, obviously the CEO makes the final decision on most things. They represent the company. Basically, they wanted to implement a payment system that would ultimately give Unity more money, because a lot of developers have been using the Unity platform for free. They've been just kind of using it. A lot of indie developers use Unity engine to develop games and such. Even for like avatar creators and for VRChat, exactly. Like for example, also. So they wanted to charge game creators to ultimately, like, whenever their game was bought, or like whenever the game was purchased and whenever the game was booted up, and like the Unity logo would pop up on the screen, they want to charge indie developers for as many times as that appears. So basically, you have these indie developers who may not be making much money having to deal with these issues. Basically, having to they have certain like amounts. They have a certain capital to build the game, and obviously they're an indie studio. And then you have Unity, who is creating this runtime fee. It's a runtime fee, that is what they're calling it, where they would have these indie developers have to pay more money just to have people play their game. So it would be like it would suck money out of their development costs.
Oh, that's what that was.
Yeah,
okay. I knew something had happened recently, but I didn't know like the intricacies of it.
I will say just to kind of like clarify. I know a lot of people who may be listening are like, again, this will be released in the future. So I want to clarify my statement of like that was what it originally was. That was the original idea. That was the original issue. They have since kind of walked it back. They're still having the runtime fee, but they're making it so that a developer has to reach a certain amount of downloads to have to pay a very small amount. It's like 20 cents or something like that. But they have to reach a certain amount of downloads to justify the cost that they would incur by having Unity to take those funds from them, 20 cents, whatever. So it doesn't hurt indie developers that much. However, the issue is that they've already fucked up. Indie developers have already lost faith in them because they've already attempted to like take them for everything that they're worth. When you have for every download of the Unity game engine, for every download, for every time it's like used among their developers. So every developer who was using Unity, they'd have to pay a fee, and then for every user who downloaded the games, they'd have to pay a fee. But that has since been relaxed. They've pulled back on that a little bit. The CEO has been kicked out. CEO was basically like let go. So they're looking for someone else to take over Unity as their CEO. But again, the bridge has been burned with many other indie developers, and I know a lot of people are just kind of moving over to another engine. I know Phasmophobia, which is a very well-known game. You know, it's currently October when this is being recorded. A lot of people are playing Phasmophobia. That is built in the Unity engine. And Phasmo has basically spoken out on Twitter about how they will be moving away from Unity and ultimately trying to kind of like shift towards like developing on a different engine, essentially. But it's really hard to do that when you've already established yourself on one engine. You have everything that's already there. It's really hard to move away, but you know they're talking about doing that sort of thing. A lot of other devs are looking to do that too. So I was trying to make that short.
Sense,
yeah, but you know it's.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I find it very interesting, and I feel more informed now.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, of course. I try to keep up with things, so like I can talk about them and actually kind of have a general idea of what I'm talking about. So people like you who actually who actually care and understand these things would I can share that with you. So that's it's great for me. It's great for you. It's great for everybody to learn. So hey, nice. So let's move into, we've talked a lot about technology, about you being an engineer, like who you are. Let's talk about your design, like how you look in VRC, how you present as a streamer, and all of that. So let's talk about that. So I guess I have to ask the question, do you consider yourself a furry?
I feel like best way for me to answer that question is I feel like my personality matches that of a furry. Like it can shine through better as a furry.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm fully a furry, but I have grown to really, really love this community. Everyone is so open and for the most part honest and caring and loving. And it's very, very hard to find that in a lot of communities, and I'm in a lot of them.
Yeah, I hear that.
It's very, very hard to find that, especially if you're new to a community. I think the first day that I joined, I made friends with people who I still talk to this day, and people you know, or you might know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very unique, and I think I'm warming up to that level, but I wouldn't fully consider myself to be there just yet. But I'm definitely so in love with the community.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. Again, like I want to make it clear, I have zero issues with the furry community. I just think it's important for me to ask so that people understand. I want people to understand and know more about the furry community and various communities that exist, because like the thing about VRChat is that it allows for so many different varieties of communities to coexist in their own bubbles, of course, but they exist on the platform nonetheless. It's like a microcosm of reality, essentially. I use this term hyper reality. I call VRChat a hyper reality where you can meet people in a very short period of time that you become fast friends, and it's just like you meet so many different people so fast, and it's just a very kind of sped up version of reality, and it just feels very what's the word, progressive in that way. Like how people can interact and meet people in such a way. So I want people to understand like what people from different communities. So that's why I ask, so that people can gain various understanding and we can get your perspective on those sorts of things. So it's good to know that you have like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You really love the people in the community, and I think that's great. I think that's wonderful. So I have to clarify that so that no one is like clips this out of context, like Nepherti hates furries. Like no, that's not the case at all. I've interviewed many people, and I have many friends who are really, really wonderful people, and a lot of people in the furry community and other communities as well are very, very wonderful, very cool people for sure. So can you tell us about like your design and how you kind of landed on becoming the essentially your branding is the EP Kitsune. For those and for those who don't know what eepy means, it's like an online kind of slang version of saying sleepy. It's like a cute slang version of saying sleepy, just in case you guys didn't know. What kind of led you to go down this route with your design?
So the model that I currently use right now is just proof of concept of Kitsune, but it's not my original character. I do have one that I've been working on for quite some time. I think as a VTuber, I would consider myself to be like a pre-debut VTuber.
Same. Same.
But she's in the works. She's in the works. It's a process. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes behind the scenes, but that's a conversation for another time. But I think, what I see as a Kitsune, right? I obviously am a weeb, so obviously you know that the Japanese influence is definitely there already in my life, so I kind of had to bring that out a little bit.
Of course.
But how I like to see and kind of understand a Kitsune is that, you know, they can kind of change over time, right? They start off with their first tail, and they're basically considered a baby, but for however long that they live, and if they live for a very long time, they grow more and more tails to the point where they can eventually shapeshift into a human, which lore drop maybe.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to use my tails in a way of as a way to show like I've reached this goal, you know. So when I get my first OC Avi, which I will soon, I will start off with one tail, and for each personal goal that I've met, I will have another tail, and I will potentially have another form. Still the same, like, you know, generic like silhouette and base, but slightly different textures with each tail. So yeah, I thought that Kitsune kind of worked for me, and then the eepy part is that's just me always being sleepy. I'm a sleepy person. I love naps. That's just it.
That's fair.
It was a bonus.
Yeah, you know, you have to add in that little bit of extra like layer of you know, cuteness. You know, I think people can relate to being kind of like, you know, low energy, very very cute kind of vibe. And obviously you have the you know, the Japanese influence, which I can definitely relate to. I can definitely relate to the Japanese influence. I totally understand like that model of yours being very kind of like preliminary. Like, this isn't even my model. Like, this isn't my model. This is something you can find in VRC. Thankfully, I've never run into anyone. I don't go to Public Worlds anymore, but basically, like, I haven't seen anyone who has this model. So as far as I know, I'm the only one who's using it, and I'm using it in a very very public way on the internet. So basically, I'm very much I get you, and but like this kind of look overall is kind of like formulated the idea of what I intend to ultimately be like my debut, my actual like VTuber debut. So speaking of being a VTuber, I actually don't think I've asked any of my guests about this. So you consider yourself a VTuber?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. At what point did you like start really thinking about like your like the idea of like having lore? Was that something that existed from the very beginning when you first started streaming, or was that something that you had always planned to do? And like obviously, like just like you have this particular design right now, like you have that design right now, I have my design right now. Maybe in the future, if we ever talk again on the podcast, hopefully both of us will have like actual like proper representations of ourselves as the VTubers that we're aiming to be. So I guess, yeah, my question is, were you always considering to be a VTuber from the very start, or did that kind of evolve based on just like your experiences as a Kitsune? And were you always a Kitsune from the very start when you first started streaming?
So I've been streaming for like the past 2 years, well before I even touched VRChat. And I actually used to be a face cam. I used to stream with face cam on.
Really? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But over time I kind of I kind of didn't want to be like, one, I didn't want to be perceived, right? And two, I just felt like it was always such a hassle to always have to, you know, look girly pop or like, you know, look put together every single time you stream. Because especially when I started streaming, I used to work at my like regular job. I used to work at Walmart. And I had the midday to night shift, so I didn't get home until like 11:30 midnight sometimes, and I was still really committed to like streaming, you know, trying to stream. So I would not get home until like very, very late at night, and you know, after work you're just like, ugh. You know, you're dead. And you don't want to have to like putz around with like putting on a cute outfit or, you know, like doing your makeup, making sure the backdrop looks all clean, you know. You kind of just want to connect with, you know, the people you're streaming for on a very fair like plane, and not have to worry about how you're looking or what have you. You know, you can connect with people on a more personal level with just your who you are as a person and not what you look like.
Right.
So I definitely think, with that being said, that's kind of how I started like being intrigued in VTubing. And like, I actually didn't even start with the Kitsune avatar when I started streaming. I went on Etsy and I found like this really cute blob cat. It's not the blob cat that most people use, but it's a pretty chunky little dude. And I thought he was super duper adorable, so I started learning more about VTubing, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna use this dude as proof of concept, and I'm gonna see if I like it. Oops. I'm sorry. I'm gonna see if I like it more than face scan, because I don't mind either way, but I just wanted to see what it was like. You know? So it turned out that I really enjoyed it, and I felt like I wouldn't have to worry about my physical appearance, and I could just fully just be myself, which has always been my goal with streaming. I always just want to be who I am, and let my personal like personality shine through. And yeah, so over time, when I first got into VRChat, the first creator that I found an avatar and it kind of really stuck was Adora Pups, and it was the My V2 avatar, which I still have, and I can throw it on if you want to see it. But she was a Kitsune, and she was like the first avatar that I'd gotten in VRChat, like one of the first, and she was like the only avatar out of like the few that I had at the time that I felt comfortable wearing, you know, like I felt like, oh, you know, this is me. I feel like I could be this character in VRChat comfortably. So after doing some test driving, obviously, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this, and I started using it for VRChat, and honestly, I think the character grew on me, and it was definitely a big influence on, you know, choosing Kitsune. Very fitting, I think, in my opinion. And you know, as I started using the avatar more and more, and you know, interacting with a lot of other people more and more, I started realizing, you know, people have their own original characters, you know, characters that they've created that they feel very comfortable in. And although yes, I do feel very comfortable in this avatar, it doesn't fully reflect me as a person. I think like I'm comfortable in it, but I could be a lot more comfortable. That makes sense. So when I started brainstorming on, well, who am I, and what would I want to portray as a VTuber, what my character look like as a furry VTuber, that's when like all of the lore kind of started maturing, because I honestly didn't start off with, oh yeah, this character has all of this deep lore, you know. It kind of like matured over time as I was kind of getting to know like my own original character that I've created, I was like, okay, like this is something that I could definitely see, like this character. And I think the lore that I've already created thus far fully almost mirrors like my actual personal life. And it kind of like just further makes that character reflect me a lot more personally. Like I don't know, her mirrored life and, you know, all of the things that inspired to make her make me more comfortable to want to be with her, like be her. Or her be me, I should say.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I still want to stream and project myself and nothing more.
Yeah, I absolutely, I understand that to such a degree. I definitely understand that to a very high degree. Being able to connect with people on a personal personality level, and just kind of let, like, you have the look, you have the general feel, but your personality, how you speak, how you portray yourself, that is what I want people to pay attention to. That's what I've always wanted people to pay attention to from the very, very, very start. And like, I get what you mean about having an avatar that you feel comfortable in. Like, I didn't start streaming until like I found something that I felt comfortable in, that actually kind of aligned with me, and through being in that avatar, that actually helped me kind of develop my own personal lore. And that's kind of evolved over time. And I actually know very clearly what my lore is now. Now that I found this and have kind of moved away from the other look that I had. Like, this is like, I would love to be a little bit more than just kind of this. Like, this is like, this look isn't bad. It's not a bad look. It's a very nice looking Abby for sure. But I'd like to be in something, like you said, like have something that's a little bit more comfortable, that really kind of reflects who I am in that significant way. But I do like this, and I have like 2 or 3 others. Like, you probably have 2 or 3 other Abbies that you feel comfortable in, for sure.
Oh yeah.
So I guess we're pretty much very similar in that regard. So I think people can relate to that, and as streamers, I think that makes a lot of sense, from like a lore perspective and from a design perspective. So let's move on to, let's get into streaming. We're like tiptoeing around the idea of streaming, but let's talk about it. But actually, no, I did have, this is related to streaming anyway, so I'll just ask it anyway. When you were doing, when you were face camming, I guess, can you, for people who've never done it before, can you share, like, do you feel that face camming was, I guess, how can I put this? Do you feel that your experience on Facecam was, I don't want to say less fulfilling, but I would say, was it like, did you find that because you had to worry about your physical appearance, because you had to worry about what's going on in the background, do you feel that you were unable to connect, or that people were less likely to connect with you in a certain way? And did you see like a difference from being a VTuber as opposed to being a flesh tuber, as we call it these days? So
flesh tuber.
I mean,
I've like read that term before, but I've never heard someone actually say it.
Yeah, it's a real thing. It's a real thing that people say these days. Because there's so many VTubers that exist now. So it's like, when there's this person who's just human on cam, it's just like, wow, look at that weirdo over there. Because there's so many VTubers these days.
Look at the normie.
Yeah, look at that. basically.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I personally don't think I was I connected with, like, had a harder time with connecting with people. I still have some followers that have been following me since literally day one. Who like show up on my streams here and there, and they'll be like, hey, what's up, you know, it's been a while, and we'll like catch up on stream, which is always so gratifying. But definitely I feel being a VTuber allows me to just fully just be myself, The only downfall is that I'm very, very expressive with my facial expressions and body language, that I feel like VTubing inhibits that a little bit. But I personally just feel like I'm more comfortable as a VTuber. But I did not mind being a face cam or flesh tuber. My apologies. I didn't mind being a flesh tuber. I feel like it was more of like a mental thing. And I just didn't want whatever community that I end up building to be focusedly around my appearance. I wanted it to be around my personality, and being a VTuber, it allows me to kind of like put that aside and just be myself without having to, be worried, because anxiety.
Yeah. That's a real thing. Anxiety is definitely a real thing. So basically, you're saying that your time as a face cam streamer, was essentially the same, like your experience with how people interacted with you and how people, I guess, appreciated you was the same as they do as a VTuber.
I would like to think so. A lot less head pats and boops, but I would like to say it was pretty much the same personally.
Okay.
Can't say the same for others, but that's how I feel.
Okay. Do you feel that that switching over to a VTuber assisted your ability to grow? Do you think that do you think that you maybe do you think you would have grown either way, whether you were on Facecam or a VTuber? Do you think it would have been the same either way? Or do you think,
No. I don't think it would have been the same.
Why is that?
VTubing is very different as a viewer, when you're looking at someone's avatar or OC, you're like, oh, it's so pretty, And I'm not saying I'm ugly. I'll say this here, I don't say it on my chat, but I know I'm pretty, okay?
Okay, good.
But
I like the confidence. That's important. I like that. I'm a fan.
However, I don't think I would have grown as fast as I do now. And honestly, it doesn't bother me that much, because I'm not streaming to become the biggest VTuber possible or grow as fast as possible. I'm doing this because it's fun, and I want to meet new people, and I want to share new experiences with new people. But I feel like when I was a flesh tuber, okay, I had all of these anxietal thoughts, which again, I don't fully know. I don't know if I would have grown at the same rate or not. But I feel like now, being a VTuber, a lot of my anxieties with being a flesh tuber kind of dissipated a lot, which allowed me to be a lot more confident and be more personable. Allow my personality to shine a lot more without having to worry about X, Y, and Z. Yeah.
Can you share what some of those anxieties were actually?
I mean, I still feel them to this day, but they're a lot less prevalent, But being a girl in a gamer space is really hard.
True. Very true.
Thankfully, I've been streaming my whole life, so I've got a tough enough skin that I can be salty back and laugh about it.
Okay.
But usually in a male-dominated space, it's very, very hard to find women. Where are the women at? It's very hard to find us. We're out here, but it's very hard. And a lot more people aren't going to look for, a female gamer unless, they're extremely good at this one game, And I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the best gamer in the world. I enjoy playing video games just for the fun of it, whether I'm bad or not. but I feel like there's a little bit of a stigma in the gaming community as a whole against, you know, women in general. And you see it all the time, like on YouTube and TikTok, where, you know, there are female gamers that do stream and they'll catch clips of, you know, men saying things
Oh yeah.
that they shouldn't be saying, you know, that are quite misogynistic. But it happens, and you kind of get desensitized to it, which is kind of sad, but it's the reality of it. And that was one of the biggest not issues, but anxiety provoking thoughts that I would always have, or because I am a person of color as well, that was also something that I would worry about. You know, I don't want to be perceived in that manner. You know, just it's hard to start, and it's hard to put yourself out there, especially if it's your full person. You know, it's a lot easier when you're a VTuber, because yes, you're putting your full person out there, but it's your personality, or hopefully that's what it should be, your personality, who you are as a person, and not what makes you look like physically as a person.
So would you say...
I don't know if that answered the question.
No, I know it definitely did. So I'm just to kind of clarify to sum up what you said. It sounds like your more prevalent anxietal issues were related mostly to the fact that you are a girl in a male dominant space, and also how people perceived you as a person of color, and how that would register in terms of people maybe not connecting with your personality, and I guess perhaps maybe even judging you because of your appearance at any given point in time. Is that...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
got you. Nice. And so I guess what motivated you to make the switch?
Thought it was more fun. Honestly, like, when I first started streaming and, you know, getting into VTubing, there wasn't like deep thought into it. I just saw it was something different, was interested, tried it out, really liked it, and kept going with it. See where it went. I'm not a very decisive person. I'm just like, oh yeah, this seems like a vibe. I like the vibe. Let's keep going with it and see where it goes, kind of person.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean that's totally reasonable. Absolutely totally reasonable. So I guess one more question along the lines of like what we're talking about, you know, just various anxieties that, you know, streamers have and all that. Like, let me see, how can I word this?
And she's cooking. Okay. Let her cook.
Yeah. No, you know what? No, I'm not gonna go that route, because I think you've already answered that. So we're gonna leave that alone. So yeah, let's move on to actual, like, talking about like you as a streamer. So let's talk about that. So when did you start streaming?
Oh, that is a fantastic question. I want to say, like, say February or earlier. No. Definitely January of 2021. Yeah. Or maybe even 2020. No, I don't think I started streaming in 2020. Definitely early 2021. I can't pinpoint the exact date, but definitely started around that time. It took me a long time to get to even start. So that's why I don't know.
Why is that?
But I did.
Why did it take you a while to get started?
Anxiety.
Oh.
Because it's just,
I see.
it's hard, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want people to perceive me, 1, and 2, I'm shy. 3,
Yeah.
I was worried people wouldn't like my personality, you know? It's a lot of different things.
Gotcha. Okay. That is fair.
And I didn't know, you know, I had what it takes to be a streamer in general. It's not even VTube, streamer. And, you know, it's something I've always wanted to do, but just didn't have the courage to do it. Until, like, one day I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna try.
Yeah.
Now we're here.
Yeah. You know, you start at the bottom. Now we're here. Like that's kind of I mean, every streamer starts off that way. You start off with nothing, and for whatever reason, some people give up, some people keep going, some people make it.
It's hard.
It's very hard. It's like let nobody say, like you and I both know, despite you having much longer period of time of doing this longer than I have, like I think we both are very much aware that streaming is hard. It's hard. It's hard to be entertaining consistently. It's hard to do the thing and to hope that people actually show up, and then when people actually show up, for them to actually stay. It's being entertaining and engaging and connecting with people and playing a game, talking to chat, and just, you know, it's just like everything that goes into the whole idea of entertaining, being an entertainer. It's hard. Mm-hmm. It's very, very difficult. But I truly believe that some people are cut out for it, some people are not. Not everybody's cut out to be a streamer, and that's okay. It's just like everyone is not cut out to be an engineer. Everyone's not cut out to be an actor. It's just some people just have they have the right mindset for that sort of thing, and then they just kind of like run with it. And I think I think it's okay, and it's great that like you wanted to just try something, see what it was like. Same thing with me. A lot of my starting as a streamer is very much kind of like, I just want to see what this is like. I want to see where this can go, because I knew that I had a personality. I knew that I had the mind and I have the personality, I have the voice, I have the like the energy for it.
Got the voice.
Yeah, I mean, of course I got the voice. You know, that's just how it is.
You sure do.
Yeah, I mean, you do too. Like, I mean, you know. I mean, like, I speaking of voices, really quick as a side note, I noticed recently, like maybe like 1 or 2 days ago, you actually sound a lot like BB. Mm-hmm. Like you and BB have a very similar cadence in how you speak.
Really?
Yeah.
You're not the first person to tell me this.
Okay.
I don't think we sound the same. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I don't
hear it.
Yeah, I don't think you quite sound the same, but you two sound similar, and the way that both of you kind of like speak, like how your words come out is very similar. And like how you express yourselves, like when you're like in a very like happy, chill mood, like when you're like singing and like just like, you know, feeling the vibe. I see like there's a lot of similarities there between the two of you, but that's probably because you two have been friends for a while.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's just kind of a little tangent that I observed. I wanted to see what you thought about that. But I'm glad I'm not the only one who said that. But there are definitely some similarities there for sure.
I definitely I personally don't see it, but I do know there are certain things that me and her do say very similarly. Mm-hmm. At least that's what a lot of people have told me.
Welcome.
However long. I can't say that. That's one thing I can't say.
Welcome, Schmelcom.
I like when she says please and spank you. I'm like, ooh, spicy.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Yeah.
But you know, I definitely say it, but also I don't. So
That's fair. Okay, it's obviously it's good to, you know, be your own person and, you know, obviously identify like how you feel and how you perceive yourself. So no problem. All right, so you've been streaming for, we'll say a little over 2 years, a little over 2 years, 2.5 years ish, at this point. And what was the trigger to get into it? I know you said you just decided to try just like I did, but I guess why did you want to stream anyway? Like, you said you've always wanted to try, you've always just kind of been afraid to do it, but like, why exactly, I guess, what actually did it for you to make you want to? Like, the initial thought.
I touched on this a little bit, but the biggest thing is, like, the first thought of me wanting to was kind of to... Oh! It just disappeared.
Oh. No, you're fine. Okay,
sorry. So, I kind of wanted to use it as a means to keep me accountable to playing new games. Because I would always have a bunch of games that I've always wanted to play, but I would never actually play them. I would play my comfort games, i.e. sadly League of Legends, Overwatch.
I'm sorry.
And not branch off. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah.
But I wanted to try new games out, and so I kind of started off with, okay, I'll use stream as a means to try this new game that I've been wanting to play for a long time, and kind of use stream time as a means to explore this new game. And with that initial thought as propelling me to try streaming, I was like, you know what, this is actually really nice. It evolved into, I want to experience these first time run-throughs of these games with people who may or may not have ever played the game before, and make new memories. And then obviously it evolved even more to, I want to be able to share these memories and make friends along the way, and have good days to think back on when I get older, and potentially make someone's day a little bit happier if I can. If I can make anybody who comes to my channel, even if it's for a minute, of their entire day, a little bit happier, a little bit more at ease, a little bit more comfier, or relaxed, then I'm happy, because that's honestly all that I could ever want. I want that. So it kind of just started off as, I want to play video games, and progressed and evolved to a bigger thing as my audience grew. Yeah.
Got you. And and aside from that, so I guess, how did you land on your branding of kind of sticking with cozy games? I guess I imagine it kind of just stems from your own personal taste in games, since you said you wanted to use a number of games that you wanted to play, but do they just all happen to fall underneath the branch of being very kind of cozy, slow moving, like I guess casual type games? Has that always kind of been your go-to taste for games? And did that just kind of I imagine you have established kind of your personal branding, you know who you are, what you do, the kind of streamer that you are at this point. So I guess, is your choice of games influenced by your branding, or is your branding influenced by your choice of games?
Definitely the latter. My branding is influenced by the choice of games that I enjoy playing, but not all of the games that I play are cozy. I do sometimes stream Overwatch or League of Legends, and they are
they are not
so far removed from cozy. They're chaotic.
Yeah.
Or
true.
I'll play exciting fast-paced games like Hades or Hollow Knight. But for the majority of the time, I do really, really enjoy story building games, because it's a story that you're actively a part of, and I feel like it's a journey that I can easily share with other people. And yeah, no, that's just kind of how the cards play, I guess.
Gotcha. Okay. Nice. All right. So, do you have so you said that you're not aiming to be the biggest VTuber or anything like that. So what keeps you going? Why do you continue to stream if your goal isn't to be big or anything? I know you said you want to create memories and all that. I understand that for sure. I think every streamer kind of inherently wants to create something that can be remembered, hopefully make someone's day, make them smile, make them happy, make them relaxed. I think every streamer has that kind of baseline of I'm doing what I'm doing, and hopefully someone will like it. I think at the very least, a streamer wants someone to like their stream. enjoy themselves being there. But people like you and
Hope
me,
so.
yeah, I would hope so. Like if you're gonna even bother, but like as like you and I have been doing this for a good bit of time, we know who we are, we know our branding, we understand like what we want, and I think what we want goes a little bit deeper than simply wanting to like we want people to like enjoy our streams, but we want people to leave with something and remember the experience to some degree. So yeah, my question is, if you're not aiming to be the biggest VTuber, what keeps you going? Why do you continue to do it?
My community. I've gotten to a point now where I have built, however small, a very precious community where some people will come back almost every stream. There are a few people that come back every single time. And it blows my mind every single time, even to this day, that, this one person could have gone to any other person's stream at this time.
Yeah.
And they come back every single time to hang out with me, spend time with me, to talk with me, to watch me play silly little video games on the internet. It's so heartfelt, and it touches me. Truly, it touches me. Like I never expected to even get to the point that I am now. So the fact that people genuinely come back and look forward to my streams, or they get excited to see me go live, is what keeps me going. There are days where sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to feel it, but I do it anyways. And sometimes I'll have a bad day, and I'll stream and I'll be like, hey guys, I'm just gonna vibe, listen to music, not really talk a whole lot.
Yeah, I've been to one of
but
those.
I still want to be here for you and kind of have you be there for me too. And that's kind of the biggest thing that keeps me going. Like, it's hard. It's really hard. But there are some people that genuinely feel like I'm making their day better, even if it's just a little bit. And that means more to me than you could ever think. Like, I'm trying so hard actively to not cry right now. That's how touched I am by these people. It really means the world to me.
Yeah, I feel that a lot. Like to be able to make someone's day, to really like to know that like they came to see you and they connected with you, and like even if you were there for if you were there for them and they were there for you in some cases, like that kind of community, that camaraderie, that kind of trust that is built over time, to just like be a presence in someone's life, someone that someone genuinely finds your presence meaningful. I think that goes beyond. That's a feeling beyond words.
It's so genuine and such a raw feeling, and I'm really glad that I stuck around long enough to get to this point where I do feel this way. Some people don't get this far, and I'm really grateful.
So speaking of like getting as far as you've gotten, coming as far as you've gone, what was it like from your perspective? What was it like when you didn't have a community from the very beginning? And what kept you going then, before you got to a point where you were actually impacting people's lives in the way that I have, you have, many others that we know have with their streams and such? What kept you going then, before any of this was like a constant that occurs?
Back then, when sometimes you would peek, you'd see you weren't streaming to anybody.
Oh yeah.
It never bothered me.
Really?
I feel like you have to have a little bit of a
thick skin. Yeah.
No.
That's interesting.
I don't think it bothered me all that much. Like, yes, it would be nice. I was actually more terrified when I was starting, at least. I was more terrified of seeing that number more than 0. Because I was like, oh man, someone's watching me. I gotta be perfect, I gotta be funny. I gotta be extra entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that like worried me and scared me. Anxiety, as we said. But I think back then what kept me going was it was fun. You know, I could just be myself. I've been gaming my whole entire life, and to potentially be able to share that experience with someone, thought was super cool. You know, I could show my genuine reactions to things, or kind of like show whoever's watching, you know, my thought process on how to figure out how to win this game of some sort, you know, or I don't know. As I said earlier, when I first started, it was kind of a way to keep me accountable to playing new games that I wasn't used to. So that also was a huge play in all of this. I found a lot of new games that I had never played before that I fell in love with. And I was like, wow, I would have never touched this game beforehand. But now I'm like deeply in love with this game. Like I'm talking like I'm going on YouTube trying to find like deep lore, iceberg level lore for this indie game, you know, because I got so absorbed. So honestly, the experience of having fun with gaming and streaming kept me going initially, but getting to the point where I am now, community has excelled that a lot.
Got you. So we talked about community, like talked about like what it was like for you before you had a community. So now you have your community. Now you're reaching a whole lot of different people. You're connecting with them. They're connecting with you. You're sharing these experiences. You're keeping yourself accountable. You're playing different games. Everything is good. But I want to talk a little bit about. I believe I met you around the time when you were either in the middle of or just starting. I believe you've done one major subathon, I think. Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. So when was that, and why did you do it, and how did it go?
So I did it for my birthday. My birthday was like a very big thing for me, and I am still grateful to this day that it played out how it did.
When was this?
But in May 14th is my birthday. So
earlier this year.
I did. Okay. I wanted to see what a subathon was like, and kind of properly celebrate my birthday, because the year prior to that, I didn't celebrate my birthday at all. I was in a very dark space back then, and I kind of just like stayed in bed all day, and was just sad and didn't really celebrate, you know, that year. But this year I wanted it to be different. I wanted to celebrate it with people properly, and have a good time, you know, for once. So, I did my subathon. I came up with fun little ideas, you know, that I thought my community would enjoy from me. And also I would enjoy, except for Phasmo. That was one of the redeems that I did not enjoy.
Yeah.
It didn't even last that long.
Feel that.
But I wanted to see what it was like. And also I was trying to raise enough so that I could work towards starting my pre-debut work, because there's a lot that goes into it.
Absolutely.
Financially. There's a lot.
Yep, I know.
So I didn't do it for no reason. I had a purpose of being able to, you know, find an avatar creator, you know, figure out, you know, what my OC is, give it to the avatar creator, start kind of getting some like artwork, you know, so I could kind of have a better feel of what I want for my 3D model to look like. And you know, outfits, and there's a lot that goes into it. But I kind of use that as a means to be able to start that, and kind of give back to my community in that way, but also be more comfortable myself with streaming or VTubing, because I feel like if I'm a lot more comfortable with myself, my community is going to be 10 times more comfortable with me as well. because that confidence will kind of shine through a little bit more.
Absolutely. People can tell when you're not confident and when people are being fake. Like, I think people don't understand that, but people can sense that really, really easily, really, really easily. So yeah, go on.
Yeah. No. So oh, definitely brain not blanking right now. Oh no. Yeah. So subathon. There we go. We're back on the train.
Yeah.
So yeah, I basically used that for like all of the stuff that I received from my community from subathon went back into stream. And you know, the biggest goal was to get full body tracking so that when I do VRChat streams, you know, it's not just, you know, my head moving around, my hands moving around, but my little legs are doing the little shuffle every time.
The two-tone shuffle. I was half body when I first started. Yeah, and I was never deck top, but I was half body. Yeah, I know the two-step shuffle. Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks so awkward, and I wanted to be able to have the opportunity. I don't do a lot of dance streams, but I did want to have the opportunity to have access to be able to do those. Because, you know, sometimes I have a burst of energy and I'm like, you know what, chat? We're doing a dance stream today, you know? I think we can do that. And I want to be able to have that option. And it allows me to convey my body language a whole lot more too. Both personally when I'm hanging out with friends, such as yourself, or streaming, or, you know, anybody who's watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were my two biggest goals for the subathon, and I definitely achieved them.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I remember, what I remember very clearly, it was around the time when I first found out about you or heard about you. I don't know if I met you in VRC first or if I saw your stream first. It's one or the other. But it was definitely during the time when you were in the middle or just starting your subathon. And, you know, I was very, very curious. I was very curious to, like, about who you are. I was, you know, still very, very new. Still very fresh. But you know, very much kind of just getting to know people, trying to find out what they're about, what they like, what they're into. And like, I could see that there was a lot of people who were very much kind of like into what you were doing. There was a lot of energy around what you were trying to accomplish. It seemed like a lot of people in your community were very much of the mind that they want to see you succeed. There was a lot of love. I definitely I found a lot of positive energy during that period of time where I was kind of observing from the shadows before you knew who I was and I knew who you were, essentially. But but yeah, I think that's really, really awesome. I think it's great that it was successful. You're able to kind of, you know, take the steps you needed to be able to do more for your community and take those steps forward. I think that's really, really exciting. Really, really, the idea of giving back to your community, I think, is extremely useful, extremely valuable, and I think when you have people who have been with you, who have supported you, who have followed, who have subscribed, in any shape or form, whether they're lurkers or talkers, whatever, like those people, giving back to them, I think is like one of the best things. It's one of the best feelings to be able to do.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm thinking, I'm been thinking about ways that I can do that, and I'm always thinking about ways that I can do that for my community as well. And I'll be probably doing something similar in the future, at some point. But I totally get that. I think it's wonderful that you were aiming towards that, and that you were so successful in being able to achieve what you achieved. How well did the subathon go? Just for kind of context, you don't have to give us like, you know, like figures, like monetary figures, but like how well did it go? I mean, you can give us figures if you want, if you feel comfortable doing that. But like, how well did it go?
It went really, really well. Honestly, as a small creator, even smaller than I am now, I was really shocked at how successful my subathon was. I think my community hit every single goal that I'd created, and I was just blown out of the water. I was not expecting to get that far. I think I probably made around, I want to say in total I made a little over like 1,500? 1,500?
Wow, that's a chunk of change.
Closer to 2,000, I think, if you account for, the donos and the thrown gifts from my community, around that, if not more. And every cent has gone straight back into stream. I can assure you, it definitely has. And I've been working on it every single thing that I've been working on, I'm still working on to this day. And I'm starting to get closer and closer to the point where I can say, guys, I can finally show you what I've been working on, what you guys have been using, doing to help me get to where I am now. I can finally show you, how much you guys mean to me. And, that it was worth it. Because it's gonna come right back to you. You deserve it. So yeah. It went well. I was not expecting that at all. I'm still humbled by it to this day.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, because the thing about that is the thing that was very, very interesting about your subathon is that you have just about 1.4k followers. And when you were doing the subathon, I believe you were just around. I think you were over 1k. I think, or maybe just around. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, oh yeah. So you weren't even quite there yet. So when I was the kind of energy that was around your subathon, it was really, really impressive to me because again, I wouldn't expect something like that. I would not expect that kind of support. At all, because we shook. Yeah, we I think as creators, as streamers, we all know that it doesn't matter how many followers you have. We all know that in the grand scheme of things, you have maybe over 900 followers or whatever, but you still you only see 1/30th of that number that come into your stream. You have 900, so maybe 30 come to your stream out of the 900 that's followed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's standard. That's standard concurrent viewers on a regular basis, average viewers. Just because you have 900 followers doesn't mean there's 900 people in your fucking chat. It just doesn't happen.
Nope.
So
that would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be so wild if every person that followed you actually came back to your stream every time. That would be that would be wild. Yeah, that would be amazing. But it doesn't happen. So when you have those kinds of numbers and you know that your concurrent, your average viewers, somewhere in the vein of 20 to 30, for people to actually be willing to have your back and financially support you in such a significant way, 1k dollars that's nothing to snuff at. That's a lot of money.
No. No,
it's a lot of money, and you can do a lot with that as a content creator, as a VTuber especially. You can do a lot with that, so I know you've done a lot with it. And I can't wait to see what you've been up to and what kinds of stuff you have in the works. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. But my point is, as content creators, we do not expect to have that kind of support. We don't expect it at all. And when our community is willing to do that sort of thing, it is mind-blowing because we do not see that coming. We don't expect it. We this has been my mantra for the last 2 months or so. Expect nothing and appreciate everything, because it's just you.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, because it will not compute to any of us. It doesn't matter if we have 1k plus followers. We don't expect people to actually be willing to say, "Here, take our money." That's kind of a big deal.
Me every time. I'm
yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. For sure.
It's a massive deal.
Yeah.
You never expect that. And it's so crazy, that people can be that generous. That they believe in what you're doing so much so that they want to support you in that way. It's mind-boggling and humbling and just makes you feel nothing but gratitude.
Absolutely.
It's a lot.
The gratitude, the generosity is always we don't expect that. And for people to be willing to do that, I feel when people actually give you their money, I think that's an expression of trust and belief, of faith that you will be the kind of streamer and VTuber that they can say like that's my creator, that's my streamer kind of thing. And like when people are so willing to be that generous, like that's a straight up show of like not only generosity but of faith in your abilities as a entertainer. And it's so like you said, it's very, very humbling when that sort of thing happens, because we don't expect it ever. Anyone who has anyone who has an ego and has some semblance of like what's real, and like they're not like all up in their own ass, like as long as they're not that kind of person, we don't expect it. It's just not a thing.
Especially like, you know, when you start off with 0 followers, you're not expecting that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I think especially at the time, I think I had maybe about 700 followers around that time. And yeah, no, I wasn't expecting that at all. I had never gotten anything out of streaming. It was purely just me having a good time. And then one day someone does that.
Yeah, just like, here, 20 subs.
Like, actively started crying because I was like, no way you did that.
Yeah, why?
What?
What are you doing?
Like,
yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
It really is.
Big form of just them showing that they trust you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so grateful that they feel comfortable enough that they can show that trust. Whew. Man.
Yeah.
That's a doozy.
It is, for sure. And would you be able to give, for people who want to start streaming, who may be streaming and, you know, maybe have like no, like very, very low viewer count, do you have any advice for them, for those who are just starting out? Any thoughts for them?
I think my biggest advice is don't let the numbers get to you. I feel like a lot of people give up because they're expecting, you know, the first few streams, you're gonna expect no one to show up, right? And then you get one person who comes in and stays and talks with you in chat, and then you get 2, you get 3, and then maybe one day you get a huge raid and there's like 20 people in there that you've never seen before talking and chatting with you and trying to get to know you, seeing how your day is. And it gets really, really like invigorating, you know? Mm-hmm. You kind of get hooked on that a little bit. And maybe you're just like consistently looking to see who's watching, or, you know, seeing your average timer. Don't do that. Don't do that. Stream so that, like, for the pure purpose that you're having fun. Because if you're having fun, it's going to show through in your streams, and people are going to want to stay even more so because they see that you're having fun and they want to have fun with you. If you're consistently looking at the numbers and worrying about it, it's going to get to you and it's going to hurt you a lot more than help you. I swear to you. I swear. And that is one thing that I'm grateful that I tried my hardest to avoid thinking that way. And I, like, now that I'm a little bit bigger, I still have to consistently remind myself, you know, that can't care about the numbers. Care about each and every person that comes to you. Don't think of them as a number. Think of the people that come to you and hang out with you while you're live. That's what you should be worrying about, you know? Making sure you're making those connections when it's happening. Don't worry about who's lurking, you know? They're lurking. They're supporting you in their own way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Keep having fun. Keep being you.
100%. I agree wholeheartedly. That is what I've done since day one. I do look at my numbers, but I look at my numbers like every 3 months. I do occasionally look at my my stream numbers occasionally. I think I've gotten to a point where I can look at like my like the only number that I care about personally are my average views. And I look at that. Yeah. I look at that relatively. Like I look at that like every other stream, something like that. Like but
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's the only number I'm looking at. But like when I'm actually kind of like assessing myself, I'll look at like the entirety of what I've done in the last 3 months. I think the best way to really go about that is to like assess yourself over the course of 3 months, not a week or 2 days. You will drive yourself insane if you do that sort of thing. Yeah.
You can quickly do that for sure.
Yeah, you'll get discouraged.
I think I do about the same thing that you do. And I mostly look at the averages over, that long period of time just to see, like, not what's working, what's not working, because I'm going to do what I find fun regardless.
Of course.
Right? But it's interesting to see like how, like where are points, because I save all of my VODs, every single VOD I save, and I save them to look later. At what part could I have done better to make this more enjoyable for whoever's watching? Is my audio like fucked up? Should I like be caring more about that? Are they not able to see something like really well, or my overlays like overlapping too weirdly? Should I be moving a lot more, be a lot more animated? Like, am I being too still, or like because I'm nervous or anxious or too tired? I kind of used those numbers and past VODs to assess how I'm doing and if I can do better for the viewer. Not so much so as, oh man, I've only gotten 10 viewers for the past, 3 weeks. I'm doing awful, Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, that leads down a very not fun path. Don't do that.
Agreed. Yeah, you look at your, I would say, like you said, look at your VODs to get a sense of like what you can do better as an entertainer. How can you be more entertaining? How can you improve the quality of your stream? How can you improve your approach to something? Is something off? Is some, like you said, like sound, audio, visuals, your movement, how engaging you were. Like what I like to do is like I'll look at my VOD basically just to assess like am I entertained by my own VOD? Can I sit down and watch my own VOD for like a couple of minutes? Am I entertained by myself? Like,
exactly.
Am I engaged by my own VOD, or am I falling asleep? And I think like that sort of assessment, I think looking at your VODs and assessing the overall like package that you're providing to your viewers, like looking at it like from a viewer perspective, I think will make a drastic improvement. And like you said, keeping it fun, not worrying about the numbers, just doing what you find fun and engaging in that way with your community. But also finding ways where you can improve yourself, seeing where you're weak, and really genuinely trying to do that sort of thing. I would say that like what we were talking about, I think is for when you're like down the line, when you've been doing this for like a year or something. Don't really worry about your VOD or like the quality of your stream like in the first like couple of months of streaming. Just try to have fun. Try to have fun, try to connect.
Have scuff streams when you start. That's just how it is.
It's just how it is.
The initiation process.
Yeah, you're gonna fuck up very early on, so don't even worry about it. Just worry about like making the initial experience for people who show up fun and engaging, and as long as you're having fun, that's like the key part of it for sure. But once you've been doing it for a while, you want to keep doing it, then that's a completely different story. But speaking of that, I have one more question regarding streaming for you. For someone like yourself, like I know you're having fun with streaming. It's what you do to kind of like engage and create memories. And you said that you're not aiming to become the best VTuber. So what are you aiming for? Do you have an aim at the moment as a content creator, as a streamer? Like if you're not aiming to be the best, then what are you aiming for like, in the long run?
I think in the long run, currently, I'm trying to aim to create a bigger and tighter knit. I want my community to be gentle with themselves and know that they can depend on each other to uplift them on their darkest days. Eventually, yes, I do want to grow. I'm not going to sit here and like fib and say I don't want to grow as a streamer. Like that's, everyone wants to do that, right? But I don't think that's my forefront goal at all at the current moment. I just want to create a very loving and caring community where people can feel safe in the space that I've created.
Okay, nice. I can get behind that. creating a community where people can come there and feel safe, feel at home. Yeah.
Cozy vibe.
Yeah, I cannot say that I'm cozy. I'm not cozy by any means. Maybe you could say my ASMR streams are cozy, but that is like the closest that you're gonna get to cozy.
They are.
I'm glad. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm glad that you enjoy them. But yeah, like that's like the closest that I'm gonna get to cozy. I am not cozy streamer. No. But my goal is to have people I want people to feel at home, but I want also people to feel like they can like connect with people, like actually feel like they can be open-minded and be explorative, learn new things about new people, be a little degenerate here and there, but just otherwise just be accepting of people, just be chill. And like let's create a place where people can actually like feel connected and that we can have conversations and genuinely like talk, just like a place where people can talk to each other without worrying about being judged for like their thoughts and their opinions and such, you know, obviously within reason, but you know, overall just, yeah, so like that's I would like to do that too, but I fucking suck at community. I'm horrible at it. I try. I really try, but I'm just that is my weakness. I would much rather be coming up with new ideas and executing on new ideas than trying to build community. 'Cause I'm just so bad at it. But
it's a learning process. It's like streaming, you know, you're bad at it when you start, but you know, you learn over time and you kind of learn how to execute things a little bit better. I'm still learning. All right, I'm still learning. There's a lot to learn, so you're okay. Community building is hard.
Oh yeah.
But
that's one of the hardest parts for me.
You definitely have what it takes to do it. I think that's the hardest part of streaming, honestly. Creating and building a sustainable community where, you know, people can feel safe and they can communicate and just have a good time in a safe space. That's hard to do. It's really hard to build that, but it's doable.
I agree, and I appreciate you stroking my ego a little bit, saying that I know you can do it. And of course you can do it.
No, you definitely can.
Yeah, I mean I'm
I'm not a fibber. I'm a truther. You can do it.
I know. I appreciate it. Like I mean it means a lot to me that you would feel that way about me. Like I'm doing my best. You're doing your best. But I've actually heard there are some content creators who don't think about community, who don't really, their priority isn't to build community. They want to just create content for people to consume. Do you think that's a viable option too? Or do you think having like a close-knit community is like crucial?
I feel like you can go about streaming however you want. If it's to create a community, so be it. If it's to just create content, so be it. As long as you're having fun and you're being safe about it, that's pretty much all that matters. Because at the end of the day, you know, when you're a content creator, like one of the forefronts is creating content that's easy to consume. That is like step number one. You know, creating a community comes from that. So if someone just wants to start at step one and stay there, that's okay. But I feel like it's such a waste, you know, because you've made all of these connections with all of these people who enjoy your company and support you. Why wouldn't you want to give them the opportunity to potentially get to know you on a more personal level outside of just, you know, OBS and Twitch? But also potentially make connections with people you wouldn't have in any other way, shape, or form. You might surprise yourself, you know, you might find someone who likes all the same games you like. Boom, you have a duo partner to play with. Yeah. Or someone who likes the same, you know, movies you like, or anime. Boom, you have someone you can talk about anime with, you know? I really feel like creators that don't try to connect with their community are losing a very valuable, like, precious gem that they could cater to a lot more if they tried. Like, you don't have to do anything extravagant, you know? You just do a movie night, you know, in your server, you know, once a month, if that's all you have the time for. Something like that, something simple like that is super doable, and it makes streaming a lot more personable when you try to get to know the people that you're streaming for.
Yeah.
That's how I think about it.
I 100% agree. Yeah. So, to wrap things up, I have 2 more questions for you. 2 more. So,
Okay.
where would you like to be in 2 years?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's like,
No, I genuinely, I do not know, because life is crazy. Like, especially, you know, with how crazy stuff is happening right now. Pay
True.
attention to the news. Like,
yeah.
I
Where
genuinely
would you like to
cannot
be?
tell you where
Where would you like to be? Not what do you want, but where would you like to be?
Hopefully 2 years from now, I'm hoping that I am financially secure and safe, because unfortunately I am one of those people that, you know, struggles from paycheck to paycheck. I don't want to have to do that anymore. It's exhausting. Mentally, it's exhausting. And I'm hoping that I'm happier. You know, I've resolved some of issues that I struggle with now, some of the anxieties that I struggle with now. And I'm not just at a point in my life where I'm doing better, like, monetarily, but also physically, mentally. I just want to be happier.
Nice.
Where I'd like to be.
Yeah. I like that. I think that's good. I think that's very, very reasonable. For someone who's in their mid-20s, I think that's a pretty solid answer. Financially secure, a little bit healthier physically, mentally, and like that. I think those 2 things will equate to happiness. You're not gonna. I think this idea of chasing after happiness is misguided. You shouldn't chase after happiness. You should aspire to create and improve yourself, and by improving yourself, you will ultimately find happiness in your life. It is not a standalone thing, and it's something. Happiness is birthed from achieving one's goals and aspirations. It's not something that stands by itself.
Yeah.
So I think that's great.
For sure.
Nice. And as a last thing for our viewers, what would you do you have any words of encouragement? Doesn't have to be related to streaming, it could be in regards to anything. Do you have any last words of like something you'd like to leave your viewers with tonight?
Do the thing that you've always wanted to do. Whatever it is. If you're scared, you know, or maybe you don't think you're cut out for it, try it anyways. And try to go into it with the mindset of, yeah, you're gonna suck at it probably when you start. But keep trying. And don't give up when you suck at the thing, you know, whatever it is. Keep trying. And, you know, maybe a few months after you've started, then assess, is this something that they like? Because you might surprise yourself, you know, you might actually be really good at whatever you've been wanting to try. You just been holding yourself back. So try not to do that. At least once. See where it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I would say in many cases, and in many situations, the only thing that's keeping you from doing the thing is you, in most cases.
I really just said, just do it!
Yeah, you did basically just say do the thing, but just do it! Make your dreams come true! Yes. Yeah.
Don't let your dreams be dreams!
You did actually just say that.
No, but for real, I'm being so serious. Try, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For real, yeah. I 100% agree. Like, I mean, again, like, a lot of what you're saying, like, I say I 100% agree, I do 100% agree. Like, it's, like, we're very similarly minded individuals. We're very similarly minded ladies, which I think I had a feeling was already going to be the case. I didn't know it was going to be to this degree, but I already had a feeling that, like, you and I, like, I'm I'm not as eepy as you, but I figured on most levels, I think we'd be very similar in that regard. But to the degree that we found out that we're similar, which I like, were you surprised? Were you surprised by our conversation?
I kind of, like, based off of our conversations, whether that be on stream or our one conversation that we had in VRChat eons ago, right?
Yeah.
I definitely had a sense that, we would have things in common, but I don't think I was fully understanding of what degree. We do have a lot in common mentally, which is really cool. I'm really excited to be able to talk with you more because I think we'd understand each other just very easily, which is nice, and it's very hard to find. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, 100%. I am very much looking forward to that, and like I really do hope this for all of my guests, but especially like with like my I want to say my female guests, but I don't want to use that term. I want to say like my feminine guests, my guests who lean more towards the feminine. I really enjoy getting to know them a lot more because, as I said, off camera, like there's a lot of dudes. I know a lot of dudes. Like I'm generally very much around dudes very often. So it's nice to find women, girls, whatever, who I can relate to and talk to. And not just because, I like the ladies, but, because, like, I genuinely am, like, I connect with them on a meaningful level. Like, it's not even, like, sexual or anything like that. It's just, like, I genuinely enjoy spending time and hanging out with them. And it's a fun time. And, I would really, really like to do that more. So I'm very much looking forward to doing that with you as well, Rogue. It's, I learned a lot. And everything that I've learned has been pretty fucking cool about you. So I'm definitely hoping that people who are tuning in, who've heard our conversation and listened to us, I really do hope that they've learned something, that they've gotten something more out of this conversation, that your community has gotten to know you a little bit better, and they're like, yep, this is my streamer. Rogue is the one. We're gonna stick with her until she's no longer streaming. We're gonna stick with her all the way, ride or die, type of thing. So hopefully we can hopefully you and I can get together more now that I know who you are on my friends list, because that was a thing. I'm very much looking forward to it. So Japanese will make it happen. That'll be the start.
Yes.
That'll be the start of it.
Yes, definitely need to do that. Like, I'm holding us accountable to that now.
100%. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, so where can the people find you, Rogue? Also, before we get into that, I want to say really quickly that I will be asking Rogue a couple of additional questions at the post end of this podcast. So this is going to be for after we're done with the podcast, there will be a post session where I'll ask Rogue a couple more questions. We'll be vibing with chat, and that content will be available on my Patreon. So if you're interested in seeing that extra content, you will have to subscribe to me on Patreon to see it. If not, I hope you enjoyed tonight's podcast, but we're going to be wrapping up in just a little bit, so thank you for tuning in. So, Rogue, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitch, as we've talked extensively about. I go by Rogue064 here on Twitch. I'm also on TikTok, MissRogue064, Twitter, Blue Sky. I'm working on other websites such as Coffee and maybe Patreon in the future. I have a Discord, which you can easily find if you go to my Twitch page. We're called the Nosy Little Dewdrops, so it's a very comfy, cozy server, and I enjoy the people there quite a bit. But yeah, you can find me pretty much everywhere, and if not yet, you will in the future.
Nice, nice. I imagine when people see this in the future, they you will have a couple more ways, but I'm sure they'll be very clearly delineated on either your Twitch page or on your Twitter page. So no worries there, no worries there. But yeah, if you guys would like to find me, of course, those of you who are watching on YouTube, welcome. Hey, that's great. If you're not watching on YouTube right now, if you're seeing this live, you can find me on YouTube at Nepherti with one I, just one I, because that's how it's supposed to be spelled. But unfortunately, I've had to use two I's on Twitter as well as on Twitch. So you can find me at Nepherti on Twitter and Twitch with two I's. And if you'd like to keep up with updates regarding the podcast itself, if you'd like to get tweets about that, about future guests and such, hopefully I'm still doing this in the future when this comes out. But if you'd like to hear more about my upcoming guests in general, please do check out my Twitter at Sweet Talking Pod. That's at Sweet Talking Pod. Feel free to check those out. And that's how you can keep up with any upcoming guests and past guests. And also, that's the easiest way to find out about future releases. Announcements about new episodes that are released on a monthly basis. I put out new episodes of the podcast on a monthly basis because I'm too busy to do anything better than that. But of course, I'd like to do more than that, and that's where the Patreon comes in. But for now, it is on a monthly basis because that's what's doable for me right now with everything I have going on in my life as a streamer, content creator, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, there you go. So with that said, thank you again so much, Rogue, for being on the podcast. This has been a wild, wonderful ride. I'm sure it sounds like you had a good time. Sounds like I've put your concerns at ease, and our first like heart-to-heart conversation has been a really good one, a really very lively one, and I'm looking forward to the ones that we have in the coming weeks, months. For sure, yeah. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Honestly, I could have talked to you for hours. I had such a great time. Yeah, same here. Like I actually had to like hold back some stuff because of time, and like we're gonna be another 3-hour podcast. I'm pretty sure of that. Oh, so, wow. Yeah. It's been 4 hours. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize. Yeah. Holy shillelagh. Yeah, we are, we went relatively long, and that's okay. We had a lot to talk about, but again, I had to even hold back because, we were talking, there's so much there, so much to kind of get into. But I had a lot of fun, obviously, and time just kind of flew. So thank you so much again. I didn't even realize. Thanks for having me. Absolutely. So until next time, you guys, I'm really looking forward to the next episode. Again, please continue to stay tuned to me on Twitch at Nepherti, and of course, subscribe to me on YouTube. It's free to do, and I hope you look forward to the next episode of the Sweet Talking Podcast with me, your host, Nepherti. And please do follow Rogue. Find Rogue on Twitch. Hopefully she's still doing big things on Twitch and on TikTok. Please go give her a follow. Support her. She is awesome. She's a wonderful, adorable EP Bean. And I think you'll really enjoy her company. So with all of that said, until next time, I'll catch you guys in the next episode of the Sweet Talking Podcast. And of course, take care. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Until next time. Bye-bye for now. Which is really cool, and it's something I definitely wouldn't have been able to do, like, let's say 6'7"